Good. Good. Was everything okay?
Oh, it's going.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. How about yourself?
It's good. Good. Busy. Like normal.
Yeah.
Are you guys building something over at Dunn, like, you know, that little fenced-in property you guys leased for the fire station?
Yeah.
Tell me there's some construction going on back there.
No, we mowed it down and we're moving light poles into it. We originally were gonna build storage buildings in there, but I don't think we are. We're gonna use it for ground storage.
Had that forever. So.
Yeah, no, but we used the building we leased more, but we want to move our light poles and things down there. So it took our facilities guys a little while to get motivated to do it.
Presentation.
30 minutes or 15 minutes or it's 45 minutes each. I don't know.
You know how to get onto the guest email?
The Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
The password is it the TIX one or the Tiger one?
I looked at wireless guest, but
No,
then it's looking for an email and a password.
no. There should be one that's like Tyco or TIX.
Okay.
And then the password is 123
1, 2, 3.
airport with a capital A 2020.
All right. Thanks.
Very sophisticated here. We had the FBI, the CIA, and the Secret Service cyber intelligence people here doing an evaluation on us. I'm like, literally the password. And Kevin Doherty had his like little post-it note on his computer with his password on it. And they're like, no. Here it goes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody?
Good.
Running a little bit late. Standard for me.
Yeah.
It's that time zone in California that's killing me.
Did you go to that AAA thing?
Yeah, 4 days worth. It was cold up there.
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Where was that? Burbank or something?
Yeah, right now, Anaheim, right next to Disney.
Spend the whole time at Disney World? Or Disneyland?
It's bad for the 4 people that were spending a lot of money increasing their funds up. Morning, we must
Big
be
one, Kevin.
Kevin. Right. And Mark.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you guys have your scoring sheets with you?
I have them electronically.
This,
I have them electronically.
okay, can you send them to me?
We're gonna like reevaluate after the interview.
I've got a sheet for you that
Oh,
will show your original score, and then if anything floats your boat to change your mind.
okay. I guess I'll send it.
And I've got donuts and juice out here too.
Cheers.
Sign this up. Anyone else think it's kind of hot in here?
Yeah, we can turn the air down.
That's fine.
It's on 74.
What do you want?
Right down to 72, see what.
It's just not air's moving.
This room is horrible. It's like an afterthought when they built this building. They're like, oh, let's throw a boardroom in a closet.
Nice little room.
It's for like when we have our board meetings, way too crowded. There's not a public seating.
I think that's your sheet there. That was your original scores. Three.
Thank you.
But this is a score sheet where you want to put your original scores there and update after the interviews. After we deliver it. Okay. Yeah, just show me because you probably want to let by your electronic. Did Mark sign up yet? Online?
No, no one's checked in yet. Oh, it's great.
I'm glad we have the bandwidth this time instead of borrow somebody's hotspot. Being really bad internet here. It's real sketchy.
It was atrocious.
What'd you do, put some repeaters in here?
No, we just hardwired it, so. I mean, even the internet's still horrible. There's no real service out here. We're in Florida playing. Pay for a fiber line, we pay like $1,200 a month
1,200?
for 50 meg service.
That's it?
Yeah.
For who?
AT&T, it's ridiculous.
Life's not fair.
Bright House or whatever they are now, Spectrum was going to come through, but they need so many people to do it.
Sign me on automatically. That's it.
Dave, are you just going to log into the Zoom and just mute your microphone? So you can share your screen.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
So just to review during, when they come in, is it more presentations or is it question and answer? I just want to make sure that I understand your rules.
Yeah, we didn't want them doing like full-blown presentations. You know, that they're really not supposed to add anything new. You know, we don't need to hear them give us their pitch.
So just question and answers.
So it's just Q&A. If you saw something that caught your attention, either plus or minus, that's your opportunity to kind of investigate on what their intent was.
Okay.
They don't have to take the whole 30 minutes, but I figured that was enough time to pretty much get everything out there that needs to be out there. So. I was gonna set up some canned questions, but I didn't think there weren't that many to begin with.
I mean, the responses were pretty good. 30 minutes of question.
With the county, we have to set our questions in advance.
Oh, really?
I was wondering. And then when I was with the federal government, we, usually do presentations and then have dialogue.
We allowed to discuss amongst ourselves.
Hmm?
We allowed to discuss these now amongst ourselves.
Yeah, we're in an official one called meeting order. Roll call. Where's Mark? Busting his chops right now.
Yeah.
Like Kevin would show up this for some
Kevin wants nothing to do with
Meet
this.
and greet, nothing.
Yeah. See, because when the consultants took a pic, they go slash your tires. So it's,
That was a motive. I noticed there was something about that. 50-50 partnership. He gets the credit, I get the blame.
um, You guys know Avcon, they work for us currently. And then Michael Baker was the other one, they didn't reapply. So for me, Avcon is great to work with. Even when Michael Baker was kind of doing most of the projects and Avcon had none, if you had a question, you could always double check working with them, and they were super responsive.
That's good to know. I had them ranked pretty high. I thought NICE was maybe slightly better as far as the proposal, but it means a lot if you actually like.
Yeah, Rob Hambrick is a great engineer, and he's available literally all hours of the day. They did they've done a lot of emergency work for us in the past, and they're a super good group.
Yeah.
And I can add to that as well. Coming into the airport authority a little over a year ago, there was a lot to be done with finances and everything else. So their whole entire team has assisted us in even getting our files straight for our leases organized in the way that they should be, and so that we can move forward with where we should be with receivables. And then they're great at assisting me with any invoicing. So far, I have not had any issues with their invoices, and they send them to me in a timely manner.
Oh, yeah.
So
That was something we always had problems with in the past, was invoicing that they are like clockwork. So they want to get paid.
What are your guys' positions for the airport authority?
I'm Deputy Director of Finance Administration.
And I'm Director of Operations and Maintenance.
And you are with the city?
No, I'm with the county.
And the county.
And so,
So it's
so Public Works Director for the county.
Pillar structure for the city.
And I serve at the pleasure of Kevin as one of his consultants. He started last year with another RFQ that he didn't feel like the staff had the bandwidth to just spend all the time putting everything together and then essentially facilitating the process. So he actually pulled me off a team and had me do the RFQ procurement documents and the whole process, which was probably one of the first times in recent memory that the airport authority wasn't directly involved in that process. Of course, what the outcome will be with this meeting will be to offer recommendations on rankings.
There's the mouse right there by you.
Okay.
No, not gonna reach there.
Am I doing that?
Yeah, no, there you go. Also, let them in, because there's people waiting to get in the Zoom call.
So really as far as procuring professional services in the federal and FDOT framework, it's a competitive selection based on qualifications only. We're not allowed to look at any financial information as far as what they would propose for services. So, so from that standpoint, the idea was
Put somebody.
Yeah, mute your microphone.
Stand by, stand by.
Does that matter? So from a qualifications-based selection, we're allowed to put together whatever criteria we feel is important for the particular project. So the last one was for master planning for all three airports and a spaceport, which is a little more complex than, say, what we're here is more of an on-call process where they have a pool. In this case, we're going to select two consulting firms. And so the airport authority has the resources to shop for which of the two firms has best qualified personnel. So as far as the CCNA, I don't know if you're familiar with that, Consultant Competitive Negotiation Act. Last time we got into a discussion because planning really wasn't identified as a professional service as opposed to architecture and engineering. In this case, because we are looking for engineers, architects, the discussion about presentations or interviews, we didn't immediately elect to do that last time. But the selection committee felt that it might be important to just have them have the opportunity, not so much for presentations, but again, as an interview type of an activity to answer specific questions that any of you as the selection committee may have. I serve as a facilitator, so I don't have a vote in the process. My job is just to make sure that you have all the information that you need, set up a process that we can objectively review the different qualifications. As far as, I don't know if you have any biases. Obviously, we have an incumbent firm that's reapplying. Then we have three other firms. I don't know if they've done work here in the past or not.
It's a little bit smaller.
Some of the staff might. And that's,
Yeah, but not as the.
in our world, it's very incestuous. You might be working for one firm and then 5 years later, you're working for another firm. And it wouldn't be unlikely to see both firms taking credit for a particular project.
Yeah.
Because it might be on the firm's resume, but also might be on the individual resume as well. I don't know if you carry any biases or I don't think there's any conflicts as far as having any financial relationships with any of the firms. In my case, I do have biases. I've worked for 3 of the 4 firms as a sub-consultant in the past. I don't think I have any open contracts with any of them. So, but again, I don't have a vote in the matter. So it's just where I'm coming from. So did any of you see, I know there may have been some questions about the process in the beginning. Again, for you folks, that might be a little bit different than the way you do things. I don't know if there's, where we're at right now, if there's anything we could have done better in that process leading up to today that might have helped you and or helped us maybe make it clearer or more efficient.
No, I thought the process was good. This actually worked better than the last one we did with the city. So ours are a little more open-ended on the scoring side. So.
I thought there were, some good things and some things that could be improved on our solicitations. We're a little bit clearer on expectations of what we want, as well as page limits. So you're not reading, an epistle. And we try to be very clear. One, I hate SF330s. I want a summarized resume up front, and I want certain things like their education, years of experience, years with others, and a list of other things on the projects. I want them to relate how it meets this so that I don't have to guess or look. So I think we could have steered them in a little bit better direction. And it's just because we've done a few of them and we've evolved, we kind of have a standard template and we kind of churn every time and say that didn't work and we want to do something else. The other thing that, at least for me, was a little different was on references. I think I did what you asked, which was just look at what they have, which pretty much was just a list. In our case, our procurement folks provide us actual references with information from whoever that contact is. And then I just check it. And most of the time, if someone's going to fill out a reference check, it's, going to be good, but I just kind of page through them and make sure. Here, a list of names or phone numbers really doesn't mean much to me. And I don't know that it means much to you guys
Right.
either.
No, I agree.
So, just some things that, I would recommend changing, but, it's not a showstopper.
I know one of them too had a testimonial, which was nice.
Yeah, there was one that had a real short one, and I gave them credit for that. The rest just gave the minimum, but just giving a name doesn't mean that they've actually performed.
Yeah, I was a little conflicted on that as well, but it's like, when you have a job announcement and people are gonna put their best foot forward. So you can bet that, if they put somebody down as a reference, that you're probably not gonna get much more than, some fluff that, yeah, they're, good firm, did their work, as opposed to, I'll never hire them again, kind of an approach. I mean, the industry's small enough, at least from my perspective, I could find those clients if I needed to. The ones that didn't work out so well, or who are the references or people that they didn't list as a reference, could be a tell as well.
Right. And we're, usually particular on the questions we're asking. Are you submitting timely invoices, and how are they with completing things on time? And they still could fluff it up. I get that, but it's just another additional level of check for us when we're doing it.
And again, I don't know how it is with you in your world, but I know in the airport world, there's a lot of competition. Quite frankly, I'm surprised we only have 4 submittals. I was expecting 6 to 8. It just seems everybody who's anybody in the airport world has an up Florida office. And that was one of the things I was, as a priority, the proximity to here, but had a little bit heavier weight, primarily for that reason, just the service that they're going to give to the airport.
I was glad there wasn't more, but that's just from the reviewing perspective.
Yeah.
We did one in December and January, and had 23, and luckily we did have some page limits, but they still stack up.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I was conflicted on that one too. And, the SF 330, that you can blame Kevin for that one. And backstory, the last submittal, the last time they did this, I was on a team that was ranked #1 going into the interview, which was conducted by the airport authority, but we ended up losing to Avcon. And it was all SF 330s that, created that short list. So when I asked Kevin, I showed him what happened last time, he said, yeah, throw it in. But it was kind of a last minute addition. And if you'll notice, I did a little bit of work in tailoring the SF 330 to ask some specific questions that wouldn't appear on the standard form. And just so we may have a more concise resume, if you will, for each firm, if that's easier for you to look at as opposed to reading through the narratives. So I guess we get the best of both, or the worst. But I think just looking them over, there's enough information to make, you know,
Yeah.
a reasoned decision on how the firm should be ranked.
Would you know, like,
Yeah. I'll plug that one in.
I did mine too.
The other, thing that's out there, well, in this case, it's a general consultant services type contract, and you saw the list of projects, so it's not confined to one specific discipline. That makes it a little more problematic too. That it'd be very rare for one firm to have all the talent that would be required to do all these different types of projects, but that's the intent, is that things may pop up and out of sequence, depending on funding opportunities, that, again, having that talent pool that you can draw from. So in some cases, looking at their subs, becomes a little more important. Who do they bring to the team and why? If they didn't really have that depth in that particular discipline, they could add those folks as well.
In that case, I look for, what their working relationship is. And some did a decent job, others alluded to it, but really didn't nail it down for me as far as, how many projects they've worked, what they've worked on together. I like a multidisciplinary firm doing everything, and then if you're going to go out, I want to know that you're seamless.
That's important too. A lot of times it's what they didn't say.
Yeah.
And like we said, yeah, we have these, we work together, but they weren't really specific on what projects. And there could be questions that come out in the interview too, if you see the need to clarify those particular points. But I do appreciate you starting early. The idea was to get you out of here, so at least you have a half a day, back to your, didn't want to take up the whole day. And kind of pushing these interviews through, just so we have check that box, and again, give you guys the opportunity to ask specific questions.
which is what-
Right.
Which is-
Lois,
who's first?
Who's first is AID. I did an alphabetical order. One of the other nuances too is just avoiding any opportunity for a protest. That we didn't do something, or we didn't give everybody equal consideration. Again, because we only have 4 submittals, typically we would have shortlisted, and that may have taken an extra meeting. So thought here was, well, since it's 4, let's just go ahead and interview them all. And that way we can wrap this up today.
So are you going to look to this committee to do negotiations, or is the airport handling that, or you're handling that?
The airport, we'll handle that part of it. And once we've made that selection, I think I sent you a sample contract that we've asked them to take a look at, and that become the negotiation document. So it's a 3-year term with 2 1-year options at the pleasure of the airport authority. Immediately after this, once we've made that selection, the board approves it. We'll ask them for rates, what their typical labor rates are. Those will be negotiated. And so we'll at least know going in pretty much what the labor rates would be for the different disciplines. And then what would happen is each project would come up, they would submit a proposal, scope and fee based on those rates. And that becomes part of a task order that they operate out of their master contract. And some entities, it's to divide the work. It's like it's your turn. And then the next project, whatever it is that comes up, will be the other firm's time. I don't think the airport authority subscribes to that. So I think it's more matching the right firm to the right project. In some cases, we may ask for proposals from both, just to see what their approach might be, which might be different. Not that we're shopping for a fee, but that could be a consideration. Alrighty. And from what I understand, I think all of them are going to have a physical presence here as opposed to being strictly online. And you heard anything different? We gave them the option. So,
Yeah, for me, AID is, it's tough because they have an office in Orlando, but I think it's like a stormwater guy that's in Orlando. Actual project managers in Venice.
Yeah, that was a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. That was for me as well.
I think all of them could do the work. It's just a matter of trying to,
Right.
figure out, separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
Next thing, Venice work.
yeah. Dennis Mark, our fifth committee member is Mark Salacio from Venice Airport. So Kevin thought it'd be good to have, one of his peers, as part of the selection process. He carries his own biases because he's worked with maybe most of these firms in form or fashion, and being over there wouldn't be surprising if maybe there's somebody that he's currently engaged as part of that. So how long have you been with the city?
15 years.
It's all public works or
Up until 2 weeks ago, now we absorbed water resources as well. So we doubled our size into all the water, so water utility as well.
does that make your job easier, harder?
Still transitioning. So it's a whole new set of players that we didn't have before.
So the city is absorbing them as.
It was another department, their director left, the joint ACOM, we absorbed them. Combined and shifted around some duties.
Yeah, that's one firm I was surprised at, is that they do everything.
Mhm.
How about you with in the county?
So I've been with the county for 2.5 years. Before that, I was on active duty for nearly 25. as a Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer.
Did you say Navy?
Navy, yeah.
Navy, good. I think there was a Navy bias here. Maybe that's the chair.
Yes, that's true here.
Yeah, my dad was a lifer.
Okay.
Yeah, I had government issued diapers. Born in Portsmouth Naval Hospital.
Okay.
Way back when. Did my time on a slow cargo boat. That's why I'm here. I don't, cargo did not excite me then, or sorry, even now. And both my kids, my son was Navy. He was a rescue swimmer, combat swimmer, and my daughter went Air Force. But she looked at the Coast Guard, and I just couldn't really give her a happy thumbs up on that. And, floating around on a cargo boat really convinced me that there are other things I'd rather be doing.
So we used to call the civil engineer for the best kept secret in the Navy because we didn't do ships or boats.
Yeah. You didn't work for NAFEC or
NAFAC, yeah.
NAFEC? Okay. Had some run-ins with them many, many years ago. Cecil Field, Cherry Point. You based out of Norfolk?
All over the place. I've been in Norfolk, multiple bases there, multiple bases in the DC area, multiple bases in California, Iraq, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, Maine.
Wherever they need you.
How often did you have to move?
In 25 years, about every 2 years on average.
Yeah, that was our deal. 2 years between duty stations.
Yeah. That's the one good thing about the Air Force. They're usually 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about diversity. Going to different regions, dealing with different people. You develop in, I think, a more holistic way where if you're just sitting there and you do, 2 or 3 tours at the same location for 3 or 4 years, you don't really get to appreciate that things are different in other locations.
You have kids,
You do.
so they enjoyed the diversity.
Some of
as
it,
well.
I mean, tried to navigate so that they were in one location while they were in high school. Now they're now in college, so.
Yeah, college is not so tough, but schools, particularly high school. I went to 3 different high schools.
Yeah, that is tough, and that's a challenge, but we were successful in multiple tours in one location in the DC area at 3 different jobs. NAFAC headquarters was one of them, and then I was the public works director up in Bethesda at where the National Naval Medical Center is. Walter Reed.
Long time ago.
Okay.
In the reserve,
Oh, okay.
but I was activated during the Gulf War.
Oh,
My family's Navy, my dad, my husband, my son. So,
the finances.
Yeah, you just have network
Yeah,
issues.
Difference.
well, I met my husband and I was getting ready to start my nursing school classes and I turned it down and moved with him and then they wanted me to retake everything, so I just switched.
Right.
Mhm. Something to do. Yeah, you just need everything.
You let them
Most of my friends.
consultants do like a little brief
Start.
summary, or otherwise,
Like it in
2 questions, you just wasted their time.
Yeah, we'll give them a little chance to give us a little spiel, but
Keep it on. Wait to look to present it.
I was just trying to avoid the Michael Baker full-blown PowerPoint in the beginning. No.
That's appreciated.
Just showed up like 10 people. That's not really.
Yeah.
Usually they take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
This is a nice place to visit.
Our first group is
No.
2 hour round trip commute for 5 years.
Where did you live?
So I started in Arlington and then we moved to Burke. And I was at the Navy Yard for 3 of the years and then Bethesda for.
Hey, Mark. Hey.
Yeah, my dad moved, he was working for FAA,
Mhm.
so we moved from Oklahoma to Northern Virginia, so that was culture shock for me.
Yeah, we wanted to get started at 8 just to get some of the cleanups out of the way.
Not so late, I think it would
Yeah,
have been
that's the
faster
same
at
thing,
8.
but, yeah, it might be good to
But
you to get
I'm
on,
there
just
for 11
introduce
years
yourself.
until I transferred with my
Uh,
husband, you know.
Yeah, we did it for 5 and 5 was enough when I was, getting out.
Yeah, stand
I
by.
had opportunities to stay there, but
You said any Jeff problems?
you know,
Is
actually
there a
it was
phone number
better paying at the time.
attached to that Zoom call?
At what cost, and so
Right.
we were, looking at options,
Yeah,
and my
stand
wife
by.
said,
You have
"Are you
email?
happy?" And it made me think, oh, I'm not, 2 hour round trip commute, no thanks.
Right,
Okay.
right, yeah.
Yeah, it figures, So it's-
Burke is in
some-
Fairfax.
Okay.
Kind of
Took
like,
2
Round, we're looking it up for you.
to either the Navy Yard or Bethesda. Usually go in there at 5:45 in the morning, wasn't bad, 35 minutes. It's usually coming home. It was followed for, an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. I had moved
How you
closer
doing?
to the city, so I lived in Alexandria. And,
Yeah.
so I,
Now,
you know, at that
technology,
time,
you're gonna.
so
Doing
we
good.
didn't go all the way. But
Pass
I'd
this
always
one
catch it at
on to the
the
next one.
Pentagon.
Okay.
And then the firm I worked for was on the outskirts of Georgetown.
Okay. Yeah, I never took the subway because it would have doubled the already long commute. I know some people that did it and they swore by it because at least they had a stress-free few hours and could do work or whatever.
Right.
But I just wanted to get in and get out.
Right.
It's,
I know. when I was
305.
going in, sometimes you're finding
You got something right with?
You know, because there was just so many people.
Okay, area code 305,
And of course, I
224.
worked that out. to make
224.
sure I should have
1968.
anything around the city.
okay,
But we were split.
305.
Overtime and.
224.
So that's.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
224,
So. it's funny going
1968.
up to-
1968.
And then there's a meeting.
They were like West Springfield.
Yeah, and the meeting ID is
I'm sorry,
West
813.
813.
what about it?
Dude,
4930.
so Burke is right.
What was it?
Oh, okay.
30.
4930
Yeah, I didn't
1272.
go into-
1272.
Of course, we always pass through Springfield, so I wasn't real familiar with it, but I lived in Woodbridge growing up.
That should get you in.
Down towards the Potomac, less than a mile, I think. I don't know where I
Okay,
lived it
sounds like a
was,
plan.
But I don't remember the name of the road.
Thanks.
I just know it's right before you go up a huge hill on one. And then as you get up that hill, then you're at the grocery store, Safeway, and all that was, right?
I can look at my other mug the whole time. Fix that. Just hit me.
There we go.
Did you admit me?
You're in. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes. Sorry about the mix-up, guys.
No worries.
No worries. Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll go around the room and introduce ourselves.
Okay, Mark Gervasio, Venice Municipal Airport.
That was sweet.
Short and sweet. Hey, I didn't come to cause trouble. I've already done enough of that.
Yep, you're only 1 minute in. Can you see us or no, you're just on the phone, right?
Now I'm on the phone.
Okay, so 4 of your colleagues here. Let's see, start with Mark.
So Mark Bernath, I'm the Public Works Director for the county.
How you doing?
Good.
Christina Knorr, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration.
Hi.
Hi.
And then Justin Hobman, Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance for the Airport Authority.
How's it going?
And Kevin Cook, the City of Titusville Public Works Director.
Hi.
All right.
Good deal. Mark, I'll do 2 marks here. Mark C, do any of these firms work for you right now?
I'm sorry?
Do any of these firms that we're interviewing currently work for the city?
Yes. Yes, AID.
ID, okay.
And MDG works for us through our contract with Recondo.
You say McFarland Johnson?
No, MDG, Motion Design Group.
Motion, okay. I think he's on another team. Great. Any questions for you in terms of your initial rankings? Anything that we can discuss before we start talking to the different firms?
Yes, I did get into my email here and I saw you had a question and it was an oversight on the reference sections. Can I give those to you now?
Yeah, if you would like to stand by, let me get that screen set up. Alrighty. Okay, so the 3 AID.
AID 5.
Okay, APCON. APCON you already had.
APCON I had in 13.
ICE.
ICE 10.
And McFarland Johnson.
9.
9-0.
9. 9.
9.
9 is in 1 shy of 10.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, that fixes that one. If you do get a chance to get your email, I sent you a scoring sheet that the idea is that this preliminary scoring, it was really the intention was to create a short list. Since we're not doing that today, you may have an opportunity to change your score after the interviews or after each interview. So there's a sheet that I sent you that you can log in your, if you want to change your score from your original.
Okay.
It might be a hard copy. I think I sent it as a PDF, but
I've got a PDF here but it's filled in. This was for it's all filled in. It's got ADCON, EGS, and with MJ, MBI, and Rotundo.
Is there a blank column next to each one?
No,
Then that's not the one.
but they're different firms.
That's old.
Where? What?
He said he's got a condo in there.
No, that's not the right one. Yeah,
This thing you sent me is, like I said, it's all filled out, and it's got AdCon, EGS, MJ, MBI, and Rotundo.
that's an old one. I used that as a template. I don't know how you ended up with it. Did you just get it today, this morning?
Yep, at 8:07.
All right, let me resend that. My eyesight is shot. I'll resend it. And get that to you. Oh, yeah. That is not the one you want.
I gotta step out for a minute, but, I'll get back when you send that thing to me.
Okay.
Bless you.
Anybody need water?
So there's coffee up there.
There's coffee up
So,
there. There's orange juice, cranberry juice, chocolate covered donuts,
Might have found my weak spot.
Krispy Kreme.
oh, yeah, you got Krispy Kreme?
Yeah,
Wow, man. Well,
even the jelly.
wow. I-
I definitely don't need it, but I'm hungry. So.
Yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out. And anybody else before we get started?
Hey, I think I might be in on the computer.
Oh, okay, hold on a second.
So,
I'm in the waiting room, I think.
All right. I'm not gonna let.
You trying to log on?
Yeah. He's on it right now. There he is.
Marco.
I'm hanging up on the phone.
Hey. Check your email. I think I sent you the right one this time. Yeah, really.
Man, even Sandeep's here. Holy cow. The big boss.
Sandy?
Yeah. Man.
I saw both those guys out there. I haven't talked to Sandy too much. That was rough.
I'm not gonna let these in until I don't know who this person is. But Kyle Holly works for AIB,
Yeah, I asked him to not.
so I'm gonna wait to let them in until.
In the waiting room.
Yes. Did you really put juice on the floor?
Yeah, it's in a hurry.
I do not have the email with the new evaluation sheet. But that's not until later anyway, right?
He just stepped out. But I'll let him know when he comes back in. And it is later. But you might want
Okay,
to,
thanks.
a lot. Sometimes it sticks.
And the slots. How much you got? Yeah, they brought a lot of people in. I'm gonna ask if they've worked with RSNH, because RSNH is a huge space for this area, I mean, for this area. So I'm gonna speed this up. Never done anything with Dr. Byers. It's long, thorough space.
Okay, are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? For Christine.
And then I'll let you can just let them.
Yeah, she said that there's two.
Yeah, so all you gotta do is just come over here and click.
Okay.
Admit. That way I don't get nothing wrong here, right? Mouse won't really reach over. got a team meeting SWAT team wants to come out today and do some scouting, some training. I'm gonna volunteer you to be
What?
the dummy, yeah,
The perp?
the foot of the car, yeah, they're
Sure.
gonna do some like tactical, traffic stops with like paintball, style munitions.
If you ever get the chance, go down to, it's first weekend in November, the UDT SEAL Museum.
Oh, yeah.
They have a muster. And they do some of that where they do some fast roping, grabbing the bad guys. Release the hounds. Pretty good show. They need somebody though that plays the bad guy. Hopefully they give me a bite suit or something.
We're shooting a movie here tonight, too.
Huh?
We're shooting some of that movie here tonight, too. We're shooting Apple's putting on some space movie they're doing out in space. They're gonna shoot some B-roll footage here tonight. Yeah.
Anything in particular there?
They want to be on a runway, and then they have a scene where they're like looking at out the window of a DC-9 arriving at an airport near Cape. They had this whole parameter thing there. I'm like, I got the perfect place for you.
Yeah. You're going to say your location
Well,
manager.
we still have the original terminal. Half of it is still here.
Location manager.
Yeah, it's
Well, actually, my buddy, he's going to be coming over. I think he's in contact with the BAC.
oh yeah. Okay,
I
good.
think that's going to happen.
Good.
All right. You guys want to come on?
Good morning.
You're not coming.
Dave, can you Zoom there?
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, let's go. It's good.
Okay, thank you for coming to the interview. This is AID, first of the firms that we're going to be interviewing this morning. This is our selection committee. And introduce yourselves.
Sure. I'm Mark Bernath. I'm the Public Works Director for Brevard County.
Christina Kennard, Deputy Director of Finance Administration.
Justin Hoffman, Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance for the Airport Authority.
Kevin Cook, the city of Titusville Works Director.
And Mark,
Steve Asio, Venice Municipal Airport.
very good. So the time is yours.
All right, great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to answer some questions and be interviewed. I'm Sabina Mohammadi, the President and CEO of American Infrastructure Development, as you've heard, we refer to as AID. It's a lot shorter and easier. And on Zoom, we have our project manager, Kyle Hawley. He was unable to make it here due to the timing. And we also have Sam Bandy, who's also he's the QA manager on this contract. And I'm the designated principal in charge for this proposal. And we also have, I'll let all of these gentlemen introduce themselves. Mike?
I'm Mike Cummings. I'm Director of Construction Management for AID. Josh Saltzman with RSNH here in the Merritt Island office and spaceport engineering, civil engineer by degree. I'm Andrew Nelson. I'm the Vice President of Aerospace for RSNH across the country. I have extensive experience in spaceports. I used to run a rocket engine company and a lot of experience with private equity world, investing in commercial space companies like some of your tenants here on the property, and bring that to the table when you're looking for new tenants.
Arturo Martinez, Aviation Project Manager. And with EXP, we're excited to be a part of this team.
I'm David Castañeda with EXP. I'm the director of the Global Building Design Group, and I'm gonna lead the architecture portion of this.
So that's our team. Thank you.
Anybody want to go first?
Have you guys worked on any projects with RSNH at all yet, or the
Yeah, well,
new team?
We have worked on, well, not as AID, but our team members, our project manager, he actually came from RSNH. And is Kyle Holly on? Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I'm on. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with Josh before. In my previous company as at RSNH, we worked at MacDill Air Force Base on several wash rack projects, fencing projects, various infrastructure, military related.
Where's the office at for us? I mean, I've lived in Merritt Island all my life.
Okay, so we've had three in
Okay.
Merritt Island. The most recent one is on Courtney behind the Burger King.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
exactly. I
No,
saw the
it's
picture of the
the-
building and the
It's
thing.
the
I'm
old
like, where is
Sears
that?
repair house.
Yes, I know exactly where you're at.
That's where we're at.
Is Sam Dandy on the call too? He didn't introduce himself yet.
Oh, yeah, Sam.
Yes, I'm here. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. I'm Sam Dandy. I am the QA manager for AID. I am certified through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, CQMC. I've been a QA manager for the last 13 years at various projects, Tampa International Airport, etc. So I'm very versed in the QA field, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, as being part of the finance piece of it, can you explain to me how you guys would handle us checking the box for the FAA whenever they request project summaries on a quarterly basis?
Well, we do have a manager who does handle that in-house here right now. And I know Kyle works with her hand in hand. Kyle, would you like to address that?
Yeah, Almina Martinez, I think she was identified on our org chart, but she's our grants manager. So basically every FAA grant, it depends on when you want to engage us and in the portion of the grant, but we can do everything from establishing the goals for the pre-app and then the quarterly reporting during construction. Sammy's very used to that, basically reporting on a quarterly basis, filling in the outlay reports. We put together the quarterly reports based on the outlay reports that we receive from the airport.
And along those lines as well, do you provide a summary of a cash flow for the project?
We can certainly do that. We've done that for other clients in the past. It depends. It really depends on what Tyco needs. We do that for our client in St. Croix, for example, just because they don't have that type of staff. So we look at cash flow. We set up our bid documents that way also and try to do a cash flow projection. And we have a very specific mobilization spec. So for example, if a contractor comes in, we don't want him charging 90% of his mobilization fee, on day one. There's a schedule. There, and based on the scheduled work and the scheduled mobilization payments, we do forecasts on cash flow for the clients.
Thank you.
You have an Orlando office, is that?
We do.
Is that, Kyle is in Venice, right? And he would be
Yes.
the project manager, right, or lead.
Correct.
You have any other engineers there?
Well, we have two coming on board. One of them is coming on at the end of next month, and the other's doing this in May. Finishing up some projects. Yeah. And Kyle travels to all of our offices, and what we were going to do is open, if we are selected, we're going to open an office here as well. And he will, come here once a week. And Kyle, would you like to address that?
Yeah, that's correct. We work on several other projects in Orlando. We do have the Orlando office, and then our design group's based out of Tampa. So, it's not unusual for me to go visit our Orlando projects. We're the on-call in Orlando. We also, in addition to that, we're also sub to some other companies that do recurring drainage infrastructure projects. So it's really on a as needed project basis. You know, we're available.
It's the beauty of buying an airplane.
I love to fly, so why not?
Sure. Any other questions?
So it looks like, as far as TCAA, your prime experience seems to be through your sub-consultants. Can you describe real briefly what you understand about TCA and the requirements of this solicitation?
Yeah, well, we are currently working with Recondo and Associates on the master plan. So we've had some, you know, as a sub, have had some experience here. Kyle, would you, as the PM, would you like to address this?
Sure. Yeah, we're we haven't been a prime at any infrastructure projects yet at Titusville-Cocoa Airport Authority. As Sabina mentioned, we are a sub to Recondo. So we're working on your master plan update right now. Mike and myself were there, I guess, almost a month ago, doing your infrastructure inventory and facilities assessment, age assessment, and conditions assessment for all the facilities. So there is a lot of kind of historical knowledge, a lot of research that we've had to do for that master planning project, as far as a good handle on existing utilities, existing aging infrastructure that you have at your various airports. In addition to our contracts that under Recondo, we're also a sub to Kimley and Horn with the FDOT. We're their quality assurance, basically their quality assurance firm for their statewide pavement management plan. So that's a recurring thing that we do every year. We go out to, there's 96 airports in Florida and do pavement condition assessments on the airfield pavements, including airports at in Titusville-Cocoa Airport Authority.
The other thing we have direct experience with, of course, is your FAA AST licensing activity for spaceports. The RSNH team did the environmental work and the licensing activity. And of course, we're very well versed with horizontal launch sites through my personal experience, whether it be in Midland, Mojave, here and elsewhere. So,
Vertical.
yes, ma'am. Vertical as well. Of course, we do quite a bit of work across the river, a lot of launch pads and that sort of thing. But also, we've done personally have extensive experience with the Georgia Spaceport license, which isn't going too well, but we did get the license.
Right.
We weren't in charge of the political side of that. So, but yes, ma'am. Of course, Kodiak and other places where we've worked.
Mark here, how often have you met with the staff there at Tyco in preparing for this?
We've met with them previously, and then we've also, because of the work that we're doing with Recondo, you know, we've had that experience as well.
Yeah, I think, Mike, do you want to elaborate a little bit on with the operations team at Tyco, you know, some of the interactions we've had with them during the facilities assessment?
Yeah, we went around as part of Recondo's team. We went around to each of the facilities, look at your hangars, look at existing conditions, look at your pavement. Pretty much covered all the facilities to report that in the master plan from a condition standpoint. What it looks like in terms of if we need to repair something, if we need to knock it down, completely rebuild. So we did a thorough conditions assessment each year in reports. And from a spaceports perspective, we worked with Kevin extensively through the Commercial Spaceflight Federation, Global Spaceport Alliance. We just had a recent call for action. I'm also on the NFPA 461 Spaceports Fire Protection Committee and ASTM the 47 Spaceport Committee. We've had a couple call for actions to make sure that that new proposed standard is not going to impact your airport license or your spaceport license, because NFPA 461 has gone off the ranch a bit and outside of FAA's 14 CFR Part 420 spaceport licensing regime. So it's a concern within the industry, and we've engaged with Kevin and staff on that.
Kyle, question for you. Where are you right now?
I'm on actually had scheduled a vacation this week, so I'm in Maui right now. It's 4:12 a.m. Maui time. So yeah, I called into this meeting. I apologize I couldn't be there, but it was previously scheduled vacation this week.
I guess Maui's a good excuse.
Could you just speak briefly to your workload capacity with upcoming projects and such, and your ability to meet the Air Force needs?
Yes, certainly. Kyle, would you like to address that?
Yeah, could you repeat the question one more time?
Just speak to the ability to meet the workforce needs of your upcoming project closeout.
Oh, yeah, we included an org chart in the back. Basically, we took a 14-month projection of our workload. Generally, we have about 25% availability for new projects right now. That changes drastically if we, with new hires coming on. As Sabina mentioned, we have 2 new engineers starting hopefully in the next couple of months. Any needs that we couldn't meet in-house, we've specifically picked both EXP and RS&H. They're both full facility firms. We do look at contracts like this on a task order basis. We project out the needs, and we plan to have contracts in place basically with EXP and RS&H if we do need to supplement any of our in-house staff with additional civil engineering support, for example. They both have staff available for that. In the workload chart in the back, you'll kind of see 2 peak periods, and really we're just trying to be open and transparent. There's 2 peak periods typically that are our busy times. That's around December, and then again around May, and that's based on the grant cycle. So you'll see a peak of workload starting when the pre-apps are due, and kicking off the first of the fiscal year in October, kind of peaking around December, and then another peak when bids come in and the grant applications are due to the FAA. That's typically around May, June timeframe. So there's 2 peak periods that we're usually very busy. We've indicated that, and we plan to supplement that mainly with we have hourly workers, and overtime is kind of expected in our industry during those peak times, but generally throughout the year we have about 25% availability.
Sabina, those new engineers you have coming on, would they just be project engineers, like kind of your line guys? And do they have experience in Florida? Is there anybody we might know?
Yeah, I'm not at liberty to say who they are, because their companies that they work for have asked them to finish up some very significant projects they're working on. So we're going to honor that. And yes, they are from Florida.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any questions for selection?
No, we don't have any. I don't have any questions. Do you all have any questions?
No, I'm certainly interested in, as a spaceports person, it seems as if spaceports never survive on launch alone. Obviously, it's all about the additional revenue streams and tenants and that sort of thing. So I was wondering, what's your view of how to use this contract in order to potentially solicit information about potential future tenants, and what are your core competencies and capabilities, and how that matches up with what the commercial space industry is looking at now?
We're always looking for new space tenants. We have one now. We're excited to have them here. A lot of the spaceports that are new like us don't have tenants yet, so we're happy to have one, and we're excited to see where they go here shortly. And there's a lot of projects and work that we're pushing through that will hopefully open that up to some new business. So I think it's an exciting time, an exciting place to be right now.
Yeah, certainly our experience has been that when we engage closely with a client like you guys, we start to really understand at a deeper level, what is your skill mix? And then we match that up with the other side of our business and other projects that we're doing. But I certainly know the tenants pretty well. We've been working with them since about 2008 with their other companies.
Right.
So absolutely. Well, we hope we can bring that to the table for you.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time. We certainly hope that you will definitely choose us. We want to work here, and we really enjoy that opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very much. Would we like to give you business cards?
Sure.
Not violating any rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Go back on vacation now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Dave, thank you. It was a pleasure to
Thanks.
see you
Good to see you.
again.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Any thoughts? First one's always a little.
Yeah, my biggest thing is still is you know, Kyle's and he's gonna be running the show and then it's that's tough for me. It's far away. Might not be tough for Mark though.
Yeah, you might be conflicted. We hired him away from you. It's just a diversion from your work, isn't it? Mark?
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you guys. Could you?
I'm saying you might have some conflicted thoughts about the idea if they were to suck up all their bandwidth over here.
No worry on this end, because they're not getting any more work from me. Sorry, but Kyle's a nice guy. He was okay as a project engineer, but he is not a project manager.
Well, just from my experience here so far, I know it's been difficult because I guess what you would consider our prime in the beginning, they were not located here. They did obtain offices here, even on campus, but they popped in and sometimes I didn't have heads up. And so they're walking into my office and I'm involved with something else. And they think that, you know, you can just drop what you're doing at that point in time. Sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. And so it does make it very difficult when they're far away and don't have permanent schedules here.
I don't think they rehabilitated the fact that they didn't really address what you guys do or the relationships. They really just focused on, well, we've walked around and looked at your facilities. That's not the same as knowing the staff, knowing how you guys operate, knowing who you are.
That's what I was asking, was how much did he interact? Did they interact with you guys prior to even just this, as coming up? You know, it's a past life, but was back in the 80s. I actually spent 4 years with McFarland Johnson. Completely different people now, different routine. But you know, one of the things we used to say is if the first time you talk to the airport manager is when the advertisement's out, you're too late, number one. And number two, just to drive home the point of what I was saying as far as the capabilities there now, since they've had their personnel turnover. We had applied for, with the old AID, last round, not this past round, but the last round for BIL money for design on our terminal building. We didn't get a grant last iteration. This year we were putting with this round, we were putting back in again. I think it was Kyle. Basically, all he did was take the pre-app and change the title on their computer to bill bipartisan infrastructure bill title on the same form, and gave me that was our resubmission for bill money this year. Didn't even have the idea to take the old form and put it in. So I ended up using Recondo to review their work, because I've been on it as our general, and they were able to get it straightened out. We did it through them. We ended up getting a $300,000 grant that was announced last Monday. So I just the capabilities I don't think are really there, and my understanding is they're losing more and more people. That's why I was surprised to hear that there's people coming on there.
Ready for the next one? How do you have AppCon set up?
Yeah. Want to stick to the timetable and just take a break yourselves?
You guys.
Yeah.
Just get it now and then
If I push it through, if they're here.
But we're going to, yeah.
Bring them in?
Yeah.
Okay. We need a potty break, or we bring them in?
do it after the next one.
All right.
Lower break.
Who do we have?
FCON's next.
Is it fairly normal practice for the airport consultants to spend more time on site with you guys?
Yeah, AppCon meets with us like once or twice a week.
Oh,
Yeah, go over projects. And we've got, we're a small group. There's only 13 employees here.
yeah.
And we have lots of huge projects going on all at the same time. And, 3 different airports and spaceports. So you have to be in sync with everybody all the time. And AdCon's been, for us, has been great with that. Rob could live here if he's here all the time. They're working right now. AdCon's working 2 AWAS projects, which is a weather station for us. Right now, there's a bunch of big uniform design. Hopefully a lot of good construction next year if we get funding for it. Yeah, aircraft control tower.
They're doing their design out of here, or just their project management?
Everything. Yeah.
So you have offices?
They don't have offices here. No, they just come over.
Spend time in our office.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You know, I'm Rob Hembrick. Nice to meet you. I'm Rob Hembrick. Hey, you're Rob. You're Rob. Good morning. Nice to meet you. Rob Hembrick.
Who?
Rob Hembrick.
Nice to Good. Good.
Hey, Mark.
It's fine.
Oh,
He sees the back.
oh,
of
he
your head.
sees the back of our heads. I got comb my hair today.
That one's not working yet.
That's okay. I won't shoot any spitballs at the back of your head.
Well, we don't have you on a countdown clock or anything like that.
Okay.
Well, before, but
Feel free to
Coffee
go
out
ahead.
there? I want tons of coffee.
I think I had enough for today. I already my 4 cups for the day. I think Megan was gonna jump on. She's with our marketing.
let me let her in.
Who's that?
Yeah, Lewis. Yeah,
Lewis.
that'll be him. Yeah.
Anybody else? That should be it. Well, good morning. Thank you for this great opportunity to present and answer some questions to you. My name is Sandeep Singh. I'm the president of the firm. I'm going to be serving as the principal in charge and assisting Rob with QA/QC type duties. We're super excited to have this opportunity. We've got a great experience base to draw from. My firm was founded in 1988. We're celebrating 35 years here in Central Florida, focusing on aviation clients. We've worked for over 80, 85 airports here in Florida at different times. And my personal background, I'm a civil engineer, structural engineering background. I also have picked up electrical engineering over the years because pavements and lights all kind of go together. So we got a good experience base. Our firm has grown organically. We're over 100 people now. And we have all the disciplines in-house, which I think adds a lot of value for the clients. We have all electrical, mechanical, civil, fire protection, all of the pieces. So we can respond quickly on projects which may have more than just one aspect. Let's see. I think with that, I'm going to let Rob introduce himself and we'll be ready.
As I said, I'm Rob Hendrick with AFCON. I'll be your program manager if we're fortunate to be selected. I've been doing airport and aviation specifically for about 23 years now. Been working at Titusville kind of on and off since about 2008. I feel home here. This is a nice place to work. I enjoy working here, and looking forward to working here some more if we're fortunate.
What's your favorite project working on here right now? Besides the A1s.
Currently or in the past?
Yeah, you can go to the past.
In the past, AWASs are interesting projects. We always joke around about AWASs, but we've done the PACRIs here and the AWASs here. I mean, it's the maintenance stuff. It's the day-to-day work that needs to be done, and that's kind of what this contract is about. Every once in a while, you get a good, runway project or a taxiway project or some sort of road project on the west side. But the AWAS is a fun project because I'm in front of the staff, almost weekly, talking about the project, getting the project funding set up, talking with the FAA. So a favorite project, I would have to say the air traffic control tower project is a pretty cool one. Not too often you get those in your career, but we've got a fantastic team. That's 11 different engineering disciplines coming together on one project. And it's been the goal of this authority for as long as I've been here to replace that tower. So to see that one, the new one being built will be exciting, but the old one coming down will probably be my favorite project. Seeing the old one come down. Yeah.
Okay, so from a workflow perspective and the needs to check the boxes for FAA, how do you help provide the quarterly project summaries that the FAA requires?
Yeah, that's something that we do for all of our clients routinely. FAA quarterly summaries are important. You guys don't get paid unless those things get done. So there's also FDOT reporting that needs to be done. FDOT invoicing, which we've talked about helping you guys out with, just taking that off of your plate. The way we look at it is the more we can take off of your plate, the better we're helping the authority out. And we certainly do that for all of our clients, large and small. The FAA reporting is nothing new to us. We work with the FAA hand in hand all the time. We're on the phone with them, with your program manager, with ADO, your environmental folks have taken it up a notch. They're moving the goalpost on us constantly, but we just, being responsive is the way that this contract works. It's just being 45 minutes down the road, picking up the phone when you call. I think a good example the other day, I was at a conference in California, expanding our knowledge base and all that. But you guys gave me a call and said, hey, I need to know your cash flow for the next 12 months on this upcoming project. Cracked it out right then and there, get a little spreadsheet for you. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's my other element too, that, if you are accustomed to providing that for every project due to, the audits that we have to go through at the end of our fiscal year, certain notes to the financial statements where it's required to be stated in there. And so providing that does provide an example of what you're capable, what your firm is capable of doing.
Yeah, and I think that's an exciting part of this contract is that we've got a few projects going on with you. I'm here,
Right.
sitting down in your conference room, and you stick your head in, hey, Rob, I need this. We get it done. And that's the way this on-call assignment should be. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
Guys, quick question, and I'm sure you had this in the proposal, but please remind me, would you be doing this, servicing this out of your Orlando office with support from Melbourne or vice versa?
So to explain that a little bit more, sir, I spend about 3 days a week in our Melbourne office, me, myself, and one other person is there, but all of the support services are located in Orlando. And interestingly enough, I think it's about 35 minutes from the Melbourne office to here and about 45 minutes from our Orlando office. But we've got all the services in-house in our Orlando office. So the ones that Sandeep was talking about, structural, mechanical, electrical, roadways, fire protection, all of those services are in Orlando. And when we're working on a project for the airport authority, I will be in the Orlando office working with those folks.
Okay, thanks.
So in reviewing your statement of qualifications, looks like you have a lot of similar projects. One thing that I felt was possibly a missed opportunity was discussing budget and schedule. I could assume that you wouldn't have offered them if they're not, but can you reaffirm that? And if you want to elaborate on that at all.
Yeah, so kind of the turnkey life cycle of a project. In my opinion, a project starts 5 years from when you get a task order. You start programming the project with the FAA and FDOT. We help the authority update JSOP, program the project, do some conceptual sketches, all that stuff, all that work needs to be done for the FAA and FDOT 5 years in advance. So that includes budgets, schedules. It's part of the pre-application that we put together for FAA, AIP, and the bill grants. They all want schedules and they all want budgets. Even drilling into that a little bit more, for those that aren't familiar with the FAA process, you've got special services and basic services. Those need to be broken out. Your civil needs to be broken out, aside from your electrical, just the way they track their funding. That's absolutely something we do on the front end, sometimes years before the projects start, and that certainly have the authority with schedules and budgets.
And to add to what Rob says, in terms of projects, those two things we're super focused on. Budgets have been challenging with cost escalations that we've all seen in the industry. Trying to make sure that you have at least one bidder at times, because it's just been very interesting in terms of how many people are out there bidding projects competitively. But keeping the FAA involved, letting them know that we may have a constraint, and then seeing if there's some extra funding available on projects.
And the good thing about budgeting too, to add to that, is we do a lot of projects in Brevard County. We reach out to a lot of different contractors. When I'm on the job site paving or something, hey, I got this job. What's the cost of asphalt these days? I'm putting together a budget. Here's a quick little sketch. How would you build this? And that helps us build budgets. And we're very familiar with all the local contractors in the area.
Really, on the schedule side, increasing the procurement periods, because of supply chain issues, there's no point getting them started if we're going to sit and wait for the equipment to arrive for 3 months during the project. So
How about as far as the projects you're designing or doing any consulting? If you tell the airport authority it's $100,000 and it will take you 3 months, how are you actually meeting those targets?
Well, I think one of the things we're doing is we're keeping track at each stage of submittal. So at 30%, we're starting to get some real quantities, getting a good feel for where the costs are gonna be, and communicating. If we see there's an issue, then we identify it, maybe create an alternate, say, hey, we might not get the $100,000 job unless we take this piece out and put it aside as a separate bid. So being proactive.
Yeah, just building in, not necessarily off ramps, but building in alternates, as Sandeep said, this, we may want to just have a little bit of, not contingency, that's a bad word in FA and FDOT world, but you do kind of build that in and set your client's expectations that, hey, this is the price of asphalt right now. It could go up, it could go down. This is the price of an AWAS right now. AWASs are taking 6 to 8 months. Once you tell the contractor to go buy it, it takes 6 to 8 months to get it. And just setting those expectations so that, the airport can keep the old AWAS going until that time and plan the funding that way as well.
It's gonna change. I mean, we know the market's gonna change eventually. Things will adjust. Yeah.
So do you mostly do time and materials, or are you usually providing a lump sum that's negotiated on any task?
Across the company, I mean, we have all kinds of contract mechanisms, but, typically if they're small projects, the scope's identified and clients like to see a lump sum. So that's just a definition to the end of the job. And billing's a little easier on smaller jobs. But if it's a bigger project and maybe there is some confusion or not clarity on the scope, then I think we can do it, with rates and charges.
Yeah. But how are you at actually then meeting a lump sum cost with a delivery schedule?
Oh, that's 100%. I mean, we have to, we would not be where we are if we were not doing that.
The key to that is, I think the answer to that is just having a very clear scope at the beginning of the project. And that's how you control quality as well. It's just agree what we're going to be doing. And sometimes we even say, if you want this, we can negotiate it later. If you want that, we can negotiate it later. Don't put that in the lump sum, obviously, if you don't need it. Let's get to 30, 60% and then see if we need that. A lot of the times when we build our scope, we don't know what the FAA is going to require or what the FAA is going to consider eligible on a project. We want to say you want to do a taxiway project. You got some grading issues outside of that. So you think you're doing the taxiway and the grading, but then the FAA comes back and says, no, we're not going to pay for the grading. So why write that in the scope until you know? So that's kind of how we control that. Just knowing the intricacies of the FAA and FDOT and how they're thinking, just getting out ahead of it in the scope.
Could you talk to just your availability of workforce, man hours, and ability to meet the airport's needs?
Yeah, definitely. So at AFCON, I think we've got 5 aviation project managers just in the Orlando office. So we're very good at sharing work. I'm available. I'm your #1 guy, but I do have other project managers helping me out. So I'll be your overall program manager. But if a task comes up where, even more like somebody's a little bit more knowledgeable about, say, fuel farms or something like that, I'll bring in that project manager to help manage that project because he knows he just did 3 fuel farms last year. So we definitely are very good at sharing work, and it's mostly in the same office. We've got offices in the Panhandle, Charlotte, North Carolina, everywhere else too. And sometimes we pull some CAD resources in from those offices. But for the most part, having 100 people, 60 of them in Orlando, we've definitely got the resources to handle whatever.
I'm just curious, do you do any projects outside of aviation?
Oh, yeah. So, our firm was founded with aviation as the main focus. That's where we started. But, early in our history, there was a period when, the authorization was in jeopardy. And again, we were just 5, 6 people, but there was no way to know whether there'd be work for us. So we branched out, and we started doing some roadway work and DOT type work. So we do that, we do site development, and we do facilities work for non-aviation clients. So like for Disney, is one of our clients we do work for. And what we found is that all of that experience helps us in aviation. So when Rob has to do a roadway job, he's not gonna have a guy who's done an airfield do the roadway job. He's gonna have somebody who's done a county road or a city road, familiar with the issues developing roadway work. So we pull those folks in to do that work. So it really helps us perform our work for our airports in a much higher level of capability.
We do a lot of school work as well for Orange County, and we do have an on-call with Brevard County Schools and Brevard County Public Works as well. I think we just had we've got an on-call assignment there recently as well for structures.
You saw the project list in the RFQ. Is there anything on the list that you think is going to be a challenge for your team?
The biggest challenge is going to be the funding. And the projects are pretty straightforward, and they're needed too. I mean, you're doing your master plan right now, and that's gonna. I think the CIP is going to be very similar to that. I mean, the airport knows what needs to be done, what pavements are falling apart, and then what needs to be done to diversify revenue. You're doing the road project on the west side, working hard to get the funding. The airport authority is working hard to get funding for those projects, and it's successful. So I think the challenge to those projects is getting funding, which we certainly are right behind you guys, supporting you to help get the funding for those projects. FAA is moving. I said it before. FAA is moving the goalpost all the time with funding projects that are going to be eligible for funding. It's on our Monday morning call with all the PMs. Here's what the FAA is doing this week. We all talk, and so that's that having that. Commiserating or whatever you want to call it, just knowing how the FAA is thinking this week and just getting out ahead of that, I think will be invaluable to you guys to help you accomplish what's on that list.
Were you in that session Friday morning? Robin?
Yeah, that negative, definitely negative. I walked out of that session thinking, man, that was pretty depressing and negative. But there were some insights there, what to put in your bill applications. We do go to a lot of these conferences, and we get, we do hear the FAA update. I think that's the most valuable session out of all those conferences, is hearing the FAA people talk. There's a $10 billion shortfall just for tower projects. I mean, that's the entire budget of the FAA. It's all, they would spend it all on air traffic if they could, but they've got to split the money up. But we did go to that session. I did get a few little nuggets out of that on how to put a better bill application together next year, the following year, and we'll continue to do that.
What did you think of? Kind of the same impression. Yeah. I mean, actually, there's an article that came out yesterday that 6 tips to improve your bill application, which was direct quotes from her presentation. Yeah. So we'll see how much they live up to that.
I think somebody even said, does it help to get a letter from an elected official? And the answer to that was not no, and it wasn't yes. But I think that's the next. Airports are hesitant to do that because there's a process and let's play by the rules. But if your competition's not playing by the rules, then maybe that's the answer. Is just get some legislative support behind your bill application. Just sneak a little letter in there. I think that's what needs to be done next, in my opinion. And I don't think that hurts.
Anything else? Mark?
I'm good. Compliments on the proposal. Very professional, very nice.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
It's going on the way out.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Sir. Good to meet you. Yeah. We'll see you. Thank you.
Always.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
We're
Off the record. Let's talk about SMS. I don't know if it's your experience with SMS.
Did you ask me?
I started to, but then you walked away.
I walked away.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Okay, just pick your brain on it and maybe
Sure.
get something going.
Dr. Byers, Mark mentioned that he did not receive that evaluation form.
No? You didn't get that form I just sent you? The good one?
I hadn't gotten it, but before we went into these, let me check.
Let me check. My email's been doing goofy things too, since I went out to California. Disney. Didn't come back to me. Check your spam folder. This guy's getting all my stuff in the spam folder now, don't you? It's junk.
Yes,
Mine comes-
everything from you says.
I think it's my,
email.
which is my extension, that dot arrow, and you don't like it.
Oh.
I got it. I'm printing it now.
I don't know about you, but there's a donut with my name on it. Yeah, it's in you a virtual donut, Mark.
Who's next?
Nice.
The AppCons, like I said, they're great. I think you were trying to drill into like historically, have you guys come in on budget, and yeah, they've been really good for us. They're, Rob, like you said, he lives here. He's here every.
I like the first one you sent. It was all filled in. I didn't have to do anything.
Thank you for your payment. Work hour.
Oh, you did.
$18,200.
Did you forward it to? Well, we pay that by.
Check, right?
Yeah.
Less, he's gonna buy us a new car or something at the airport.
Right.
I'm trying to avoid you.
I go for it.
I don't- just can't, but what are we gonna do to get the city to pave that section of road down here on the south side?
Ouch.
Yeah, the city, yeah, there's part of
Loop around the airport?
Yeah. County says it's not theirs.
No, from our records, it's not.
Maybe
It's
that's the
Port
problem.
Authority property.
Huh. Yeah,
I
I
think our
guess-
surveyor looked into it last time it came up, and there was never, there's no dedication to the city, no deeds to us or anything. So, from Grissom to all the way around.
Yeah, because they haven't, like, what they're telling, well, the county said to us was from Grissom to the mosquito control is county road, and then from there all the way around to Golden Knights is city, and then from
Yeah.
Golden Knights down to 405 is county, because they came and paved, county came and paved all that stuff, and then I told them just keep going. They're like, no, that's not ours, that's city road.
Not that we looked into it, there's no, it was never dedicated to the city, so we have no right of ways, we have no.
Need some road paved.
What was the limits?
The county came last year or the year before, and they paved from Grissom to mosquito control. And then they came from 405 and came up to Golden Knights. And then they said the rest of that loop going around was the city, but haven't said.
You guys got money, we have a contractor awarded already, we're happy to throw it to a contractor if you're willing to pay for it.
We have plenty of contractors. I'd have to look
Yeah.
with having such a long county and, Yeah, on one road, you could have the state and the city and us. I have to look at a map. I can never, just say, yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
It's just too confusing.
So I think on one of the developments that came up, all the development applications, but I'll check into it again, but.
Yeah, no, you're just, you go from Nice Road to Pothole City.
Well, in potholes, if it is us, we would certainly come out right away and address that as far as.
We've been patching them, we've been ready for it.
So, but that's a simple call for us, and, we'll be out there within 2-3 days. As far as resurfacing, we have a plan, we have our pavement condition assessments,
Right.
and then we look at prioritization. So I'd have to look at that specific road.
Let's see if I can get to my GIS mapper.
Ice.
Hmm?
Ice is 10.
ICE is next day. 10:15.
Okay.
Not exactly where.
This section right here, that's in the orange.
Yeah, that's not us then, according to our.
Yeah, I don't think it's ours either. Get our surveyor to look at it, but.
Yeah, we'd have to have our surveyor look at it as well. But ours is all in orange if it's us.
Yeah.
If we recognize it's us. And I'm not saying that it's perfect.
Yeah,
but
no,
generally it's pretty good.
I assume maybe something got lost when the city annexed all this. They annexed it, what, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they annexed the airport.
Or maybe it used to go all the way through and then it jogged out now and was separated at that point. I don't know. We can take a look at it.
Yeah, whatever, it's not a rush.
The road to the west he's talking about is a new connection 407. Is it the one that Verona's working on too, or is that a different one?
No, it's a different road.
Okay. I know you guys have Kevin mentioned that Verona's paying for the first, the concept.
Yeah, oh yeah, so yeah.
407, the Grissom connection.
Yeah, so Space Florida is gonna pay for, it's a new road, essentially, it's gonna come in across the street from headquarters over there, and connect to the Challenger Road.
Okay.
From the Orange Road. Kind of, I guess the city ran like a water main through there a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, big.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's gonna
that was
follow
part
that.
of the southern one too, but
So the road's gonna follow that. And then we're gonna develop, or we have a developer that's gonna build some large manufacturing facility.
yeah, I think
Space Coast Industrial Park.
I think most of that should be that. Developing concepts.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's good for it's some nice city, some good jobs for.
Yeah, we might be looking to get a lease for another 10 acres down here at some point. See if you guys have available property to move our police station. No, public safety. Maybe not fire, they're not sure about their siting, but at least PD's relocation. So yeah.
Is Lockheed taking their building?
Yeah, they
So
want it.
eventually.
They want it for mainly to get rid of it, to build a new security guard for the two new facilities they're building.
Okay. So, pretty cool.
We have concepts of it, but we're trying to get grants for money now. The Worship Operations Center. So. Fire's not sold, they want to come this far down away from, they want to be on 4 or 5, more than down.
Yeah.
Here, because the county station comes in overlapping.
Right.
Did you send me your rankings, your initial? I think
sets.
I didn't get them.
They don't really operate out of the building anyways.
Is that an attachment?
Yes. Seven 58 AM.
Sorry, there you go. My signature, sure.
Did you find it?
Let's see. Yeah, see mine? Spam filter.
Uh-oh.
No.
Next presentation 10.
It's 10, right?
15.
Okay.
Oh, is it 10:15?
No one's waiting out there, so.
Yeah, we'll bring right in.
Couldn't do it.
Those things are.
And our Krispy Kreme.
Got a Red Bull there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a Red Bull and coffee or
I
something.
could have used that. Oh, you need stirrers. Stick stirrers or something for the coffee.
Oh,
I didn't see anything.
they're probably in the bag there. Just put the lid on it to shake it.
That's what I do, actually.
See that Southwest flight in Havana yesterday?
Yeah.
Took off. It was a 737 Max, man, Max 8 took off. Havana had a big bird strike, but cabin was just charged with smoke pretty good. And they, turned back and came back to Atlantic, but the fire department in Cuba there's no fire. They were like spraying the airplane with water.
Oh,
And then everybody was bailing out the the emergency exits with their luggage. People were standing on the wing taking selfies. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
Another classic aircraft accident.
Yeah, and I was on a Southwest flight where they de-iced the airplane, and the guy spraying the de-icing fluid shot up into the engines, and it went into the air intake,
Yeah.
and it's actually heated. 'Cause, at altitude, the air is so cold
Right.
that this de-icing fluid, nothing happened until we took off. And then
Oh.
I think the AC packs came on or something and started blowing this blue smoke,
Oh, nice.
which was just de-icing fluid.
Right.
I mean, it literally filled the cabin to where I was like in the exit row and you couldn't see the bulkhead. Up front. It was that bad. And I'm just waiting for that first person to scream that we're on fire, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
But everything was just deathly quiet as soon as we lifted off. And I knew it was gonna happen. We were just gonna do it. Go around the pattern and land. But the flight crew didn't say anything, cabin crew didn't say anything. Nobody said, really, nobody screamed. I told people around me, don't be alarmed, it's just de-icing fluid.
Good.
And it's not toxic or anything, but as soon as we got on the ground, all the equipment was rolling out to us. And you know what a schnozzle is? So the schnozzle was just ready to go. I'm just another guy was begging to be able, let me push it.
Punch a
Let me
hole through
do
the
it.
side of that thing.
So all the guys in their fire suits came in and big fuss. But they didn't say anything, which was just so.
Yeah,
bizarre.
usually hear the big announcement, say, hey, no panic.
Well, I figured the flight crew had their hands full. They probably had oxygen masks on it. They were just trying to figure out what was going on. But for everybody else, cabin crew didn't know what to do or say. So
Right.
I actually said something to Southwest the next day that, you need to brief these people on stuff like that, because it could have ended a lot differently.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody did panic and try to get doors open, windows open, that kind of stuff. And that's what I was really ready for, was when that happens, how do you stop the panic?
Right. Like ice is here. No, I went down into the FPL. I used all of it.
Everybody ready?
Bosun and Doug Hamburger out there. Bosun, he's done a lot of work here for us.
Yeah, he's come in. He has been here on a pretty regular basis. And helped out. I thought that book was outstanding. We were able to find all of the information.
Yeah.
very easily. Yeah. They've also been, Doug Hammer has been present at our board meetings for quite some time now, trying to get to know everyone. He's visited a couple of times as well. I know he talks to Kevin on a regular basis.
And the other guy, Rob, that was just in here, those two are brothers.
Oh.
So they compete against each other.
They're calling their people to let them know to dial in early.
Oh, okay. Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. How you doing?
What are you doing?
I see. The mark.
Yep.
We have some people that are dialing in, Justin, but
Yeah, they haven't popped up yet.
yeah,
Having the calendar at 10:30.
we could start without it.
I got here early. Wasn't home. I didn't go to McDonald's anymore. Went to Home Depot. Yeah, bought some stuff. I had time.
Yeah.
No food there. Donuts.
Yeah,
They brought donuts.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I didn't even see
And there's coffee out there too, right on the table right there.
So,
Someone's always hungry,
I'm
so-
sitting, yeah, I have a couple minutes.
Usually the client doesn't buy coffee. don't they? So.
Well, if you want to get started, and I'll wait for them, if they're gonna dial in, I'll let, you usually put them in a waiting room and then we'll let them in.
Okay.
But
Get started, sure.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Introduce ourselves.
Us first.
Sure.
Okay, I'm Doug Hambrecht, professional engineer at the state of Florida and some other states. I'm the program manager. I'm responsible for the entire program, all the projects, and working with Christine and Justin and Kevin. With me here today is Marlon Dada. He's the project manager. He's a professional engineer, 14 years experience. He's out of the Orlando office, available for quick response time. He's 100% dedicated to this project. As soon as he finishes up this drainage project at Lakefront, he's working on a $25 million drainage project. But
Almost done.
almost done, yes. This is Mohsen Mohammadi. He's the quality control manager for us, and he's going to be doing serving as a deputy project manager to assist me. We've been working together for 20 years on. I've worked together for 10 years at a former firm. So he's a great addition to the team. He's with Mohsen Design Group. And he's also on the master plan project. He's a member of that team. And other members of the team include Jacobs Engineering. They should be. Jacobs Engineering is also part of the master plan, and they're on the team for spaceport. And then we have our architects, planners. We have FAA program managers that now work for us with help with grants, funding, and also ex-airport director. And I'll introduce them as soon as they come on.
Hi, I'm Mark Permath. I'm the Public Works Director for Brevard County.
Christina Kennard, Deputy Director of Finance Administration.
Justin Hoffman, Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance.
Feeling good, say it's Titusville Works Director.
And Dave Byers, Quadrix Aviation. I serve at the pleasure of the director and facilitator for this RFQ procurement. I don't have a vote, so.
Okay.
And Mark Servasio, Venice Airport. I'm looking at the back of your heads.
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
I don't see anybody doing this, but if they do, I'll wasn't in. But if you want to go ahead and.
Okay.
Pretty informal right now.
Okay. Well, in our proposal, there's three main points that we try to hammer home. It's our knowledge of the airports and the authority system, Space Coast, Merritt Island, and Arthur Dunn. We've done a lot of work prior to this and really attending all the authority meetings for the last 2 years. We've interviewed the staff here. We've worked looking at the CIP, visited the airports, took a bunch of pictures. This is really an important contract for us. So the three things is familiarity with the airports. We've had different engineers here in the past, and we feel like maybe it's time that you guys had a little bit of new blood, maybe a change in scenery. And hopefully we can prove to you throughout the proposal that we're qualified and we do the little things right, from invoicing to grants and grant closeout. I mean, anybody can really design a taxiway, but it's the focus on the little things, doing the little things right, and being a good partner to work with. And that brings me to the second point, which is client service. There's a lot of firms that can do the work, but we want to be the firm that you prefer to do business with. And that's in the form of responsiveness, making sure that you have the right people for the right task. One of the things that separate us from the other firms is we have aviation in-house, engineering, we have architecture, we have planning, we have ex-airport managers, and we have ex-FAA program managers. So when you come to us and you say, Doug, we got a developer here who's interested in this parcel, I can immediately call in the architects, do concepts, look at fire codes, look at floor drains, foam, sprinklers, do some renderings, planners to look at surfaces and how it works with the master plan, and the engineers to look at taxiways, site development, and drainage. So, you know, that's something we put together quick. The developer really needs a quick turnaround, and that's just services that we offer without a contract. It's upfront work that we can provide, and since we don't have subs, I don't have to worry about a contract. So that's one of the advantages of client service, and that's one of the things that one of the main points that we bring to the authority. And the third point is just focus on the details, provide the technical experience. We think we have a really good team, and hopefully we demonstrated that well in the proposal. That's really about it for my introduction. Did you have anything to add?
The proposal was very good. Have you guys done work with Jacobs on any other projects, or a new partner for you?
It's a new partner for ICE, but Mosin's worked with them a ton.
Yeah, I've worked with them for about 14 years on a variety of projects, runway extension, EMAS, as Venice, for example. We're doing work at in Jacksonville. I've worked with them in Jacksonville, Key West, Marathon, all around the state. We've done Cecil Airport, so forth. So we have a great relationship with them. And they're also, as I mentioned, they're part of the master plan team. So I'm working with them on the capital improvement program and cost estimate. So
What are their offices?
they're all over Florida. They have 800 people right here in Cape Canaveral.
Yeah.
Working for the spaceport, for the spaceport. They have Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami, Tampa. They're everywhere.
So what about the team specifically working here?
They're in Orlando. Orlando working with Space Coast. Yes.
We're ICE has really only been in aviation since about 2015, but in that short amount of time, we've managed to get clients in Citrus County. We're at Valkyria Airport doing work for Adam Hyde. I'm trying to get some permits for you guys too, by the way. We're back and pull you aside later. Sebastian, Daytona Beach, Okaloosa County, there are 3 airports. Destin, Long Beach, Crestview, Destin Executive, Collier County. And then Mosin is just, he's really, really well known through his days at LPA and then his own firm. Now his own firm again.
Yeah, so I've been in Florida since '97, working with FAA, FDOT on grants, helping clients with grant pre-applications, grant compliance during construction, grant closeouts. This is something that, as Doug mentioned, anybody can design a runway rehab, never over taxiways and stuff. It's how you deal with the project from the inception all the way through closeout
is what makes us different from many other firms. That we have that commitment to get the project done from the beginning to the end.
How about project summaries? Because they seem to keep popping up for us here at the airport authority and being in compliance quarterly with the FAA.
That's exactly right. So my past experience with Kevin, I used to do that for him when he was at Brooksville. So we would provide him with reports that he would use at the airport advisory. He would put up all the status of every project, where we are, what issues there are, what the schedule is. And at the same time, if we had FAA funding on projects every quarter, we would send an email at the beginning of the month that said that the quarterlies are due by the 15th. So let's get together, get all the numbers put together, the status of the project. And we did that very consistently with Kevin and Mark at Venice and other airports.
And I like to add, Christina, that whenever we do a project, we always send out monthly reports, project status reports with the invoicing. And I always say to any of my guys, Moran or the architects or whatever type of project it is, call the client and see how they're doing. When was the last time you talked to them? And if they ever have to call and say, hey, what's the status of this? Or you're late. I mean, you have to head that stuff off. And what we're going to focus on here is making yours and Justin's job easier. You won't have to call and remind us. You won't have to wait for project status reports or quarterly reports. It's all going to be handled for you guys with professionalism, and we're going to have a little bit of fun too.
And we continuously help update the Jason. This is something I did with Kevin. We have a separate spreadsheet that we keep track of. And then every time he has a new project, for example, he used to have it added to the list, go with that to FDOT, FAA, see if there's any funding availability, program it where they, for example, if that may say, you know what, I don't have any money now, but I got some money in 2025, go ahead and program. We had that interaction with the agencies to come up with the funding program plan for the future. So having an up-to-date JSIP and CIP helps you with not only FAA but FDOT to help them program the project and make sure everything is consistent and in order.
About cash flows with the projects.
Yeah, this is a good point. During we actually, in some of the projects that are larger projects, we actually provide a cash flow spreadsheet to the client to show them, guys, at month 1 or month 2 and 3 of the project, you need to have this much funding in place, because a lot of times FDOT and FAA will reimburse you until you pay the contractor, and that causes a cash flow issue for the client. So we used to work with the contractors and the client to say, okay, this month, this is what you can bill, or on fast track project, we have a major fast track project at Brooksville, for example. We worked even before we gave notice to proceed to the contractor. We sat down with them and said, this is a cash flow. This is what you can bill every month in order for the airport to stay in the green and not have to borrow from other departments, for example. This is very important. So we definitely are aware of that and we've done that before. Yeah, right. You are, yeah, you're the authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we have our other disciplines on board. This is Kevin in the middle of the screen. He's with Jacobs to do the spaceport planning, and we have, yeah, Kevin, if you want to say hello.
Yes, hello, everyone. Good to see you. You guys started promptly.
We started early.
We started early. They're hungry. They want to go to lunch.
Okay, very good.
I was late earlier this morning.
We have Richard Osborne. He's our planner. You want to say hello, Richard?
Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to meet you virtually, and we look forward to working with you all in the future.
And Daniel Elsey, he's an ex-airport manager, 15 years, working at a commercial service airport. So he's available to help with grants, with spreadsheets and funding, and And also, if you need any assistance with leases or anything along those lines, he's really well equipped to do that. Say hello, Daniel.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Glad that we're having this opportunity and look forward to working with you guys.
And let's see, Bob Anderson is our architect. I've known Bob for almost 30 years. Sort of the guru of NFPA, and he's done projects throughout airports all throughout the Southeast, so really all over the world. Bob, where are you?
Thank you, Doug. With that introduction, I don't think I could possibly add anything.
Okay. Well, we can't see your pretty face, but that's okay.
I think it's on your end, but anyway, thank you.
Engineers and architects. Engineers. Oh, there he is. Engineers and architects, right, Bob? Oil and water. But we get along with that. Most of them knows them too. Back at
30 years.
Questions? I think you guys had a very solid proposal. I liked how you started with the evaluation criteria, like a cheat sheet up front, and then on your projects, you refer to the key points of the the solicitation itself. I think it was a very nice feature. I think one thing that possibly could have been a little bit better is on your project budget and schedule. I guess I could imply that you always meet it, but can you elaborate a little bit on not only the project budget, but your design budget and meeting schedule?
Sure. The design budget, what we focus on is an early understanding of the project scope, meeting with the owner, possibly meeting with the tenant, meeting with the tower, trying to meet with the DOT, the FAA, just trying to figure out all the elements that are going to be encompassed in the project and develop a detailed scope. Sometimes even before we develop the scope, we get the as-builts and pull those together. So we got a really clear understanding of what's involved in the project. That way there's no surprises down the road. And, our clients come to us and they expect us to know what's in the project. So never, hardly ever do we go back and say, I need more money. We're supposed to know this and we're supposed to know how to put the scope together. So as far as design budgets, yeah, I mean, we always meet those. Those are never over budget. Now, construction, the best way to handle that is to just have a complete set of plans, a complete set of specifications, do a thorough quality control review, do a field review, make sure everything in the field is accounted for, check the as-built, reread the specifications, and then a constructability review, because everything could be good in the drawings, but is it constructible? Are we going to have issues with clearances? Do we call for dewatering or sheet metal? So yeah, just anticipating all those things where the contractor can probably ding you. And then you working with the contractor in the event that there is a problem, which I've never had a project that didn't have some sort of issue. Working with them, being responsive, responding to his RFIs same day, not holding them up. They'll generally treat you better and want to work with you during the process.
One other thing that we usually do when we put together a construction budget is we go through the DOT unit prices for previous project in the past 3 months, and we check all of that to make sure the construction budget is on target. In addition to that, we always reach out to suppliers, vendors, and see basically how much it's costing nowadays to make sure we get the most accurate picture, and so our bids don't go over budget or below.
That
yes, thank you.
Yeah, have to commend you on your proposal. It's very well written.
It's a team effort.
Any questions of the selection committee? We got Mark Cervesio on Venice as well. He's looking at the back of your head. Mark, did you have any questions?
Yeah, just, I'm zooming in from Venice. Where are you fellow Zoomers coming from?
Most and I are in Tampa and Maram is in our Orlando office.
East Orlando.
East Orlando.
40 minutes away.
Very close by.
Bob is Tampa?
Oh, the other folks on the phone, no, they're a little bit spread out. Bob is in, he's in South Carolina, our main office in Columbia. Richard, the planner, he's in Greensboro, North Carolina. But we have junior planners in Tampa, junior architects in Tampa as well. So you might see the heads of architecture and planning at scoping meetings, and they'll kind of monitor the overall status of the project. But day to day, we have I wouldn't say junior people, but seasoned people that are local to Florida that will be more of the day to day if it's a planning project or an architectural project.
And I'm actually in Orlando also. I'm the architect planner for the Spaceport Master Plan, so you'll be seeing me quite often. Over.
And Mark, our survey and geotech is local. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Well, actually, one more. So you have an architect close enough that could do an IFE for us for admin building?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll call you later.
Sounds great. Thank you.
I was gonna say, if you had any questions of the committee at all.
Look forward to working with you.
Same here. That's great. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm going up on the way out.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Back to us.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. And Maram is right there in Orlando. So it's, being the project lead, project manager.
Have you worked with them before?
I've only worked with most of them.
Most of them.
Yeah. But Doug has been hanging around here like crazy for the last, like you said, for the last 2 years, or yeah, he's been here. They come from Tampa to all the board meetings, and they definitely are known entities around here.
In another life, I would have been teamed with them. Teamed with them on several other opportunities. Always coming in number 2 after I have time.
I upped my score for them on, what's the first one? On understanding. 2 years is a lot of board meetings to go to.
Yeah. That's a grind too, for anybody that's doing business development.
Yeah, and we've taken them around to the airports. They've always expressed an interest in all of our facilities.
And not just, they've expressed interest in the entire staff. Not just dealing with Justin and Kevin and so on. They know our accounts payable, accounts receivable, receptionist. I mean, I know we're not very big, but
That's
they,
interesting.
Yeah.
That's, you
they really, you know, made
Insightful.
themselves known.
know,
Next is McFarland Johnson.
You got another half hour. They may show up early too.
I don't really know a whole lot about McFarland Johnson. We on paper, they've got a lot of experience. They kind of skimmed a lot of stuff here, I think. All the other, to me, all the other clients, or not the other clients, all the other consultants really put an effort into project experience. They did one page and then they just referred to the SF 330.
Yeah, that was one page. It wasn't as easy to follow.
And I've seen Zach around. I've met him a few times. But they reached out like 2 days prior to this big, release to meet up to talk about them. And that's kind of a little late.
That's again, a product of, showing up at a lot of these meetings ahead of time just to know what's coming.
Yeah.
Because if you're reading about it as an RFP or RFQ, it's too late to do the homework.
And the PM talked about a 20-year resident and a whole bunch of stuff, but it never really, and that he was an intern, which I could care less about, never really, gave the direct correlation on his relevant experience. And again, like you said, referencing to the 330s, I don't care for that in general, but he also didn't, really talk a lot about, I thought it was a missed opportunity not to talk about, the airports and the spaceport. They didn't really give specifics.
Yeah, they really didn't. If you look at ICE, the first page is they talk about their knowledge of all the air facilities and that kind of stuff. And here, there's nothing on it really. Like I said, they took flight lessons at Merritt Island. Some employees did. They came to the air shows. It really wasn't focused on what they've learned about the authority or anything like that. And they teamed up with Burns and McDonald, which is also, I think ICE has teamed up with them. Was it ICE has teamed up with them or is it Avnet that's teamed up with them for the spaceport stuff?
I think AFCOM had them for spaceport.
Okay, yeah, one of the two. And they're a good space firm too, so. I think the only thing I really know about these guys is they're building the Key West. You've been to Key West Airport, it's tiny, but they're putting actual beautiful terminal down there.
Yeah.
Kind of landlocked down there, but nothing's easy.
Right.
Anyway.
They made it 2-story or something. As far as the parking or something.
Oh, they made a maintenance, yeah, I saw that, they made a parking garage for their maintenance facility.
Yeah, so it's interesting that that was for flood zone. I mean, Key West is flagged, grew up there as a kid, hurricanes come and go. We were always worried about the storm surge.
saw this in their desktop yesterday. They have this Orlando MCO, this Frontier hangar. It says one at Orlando International, the other two be determined. Over here, we need an MRO facility for Frontier to come fix their jets. Great over here.
Yeah. Well, that was something I worked with Kevin on way back when. And when he was at Brooksville, I was trying to get an MRO out there and help put some of the material together to put that compelling argument why it's a good idea. Didn't go anywhere, but you gotta put yourself out there.
Right.
It just showed up.
Mhm.
Do you have anybody down there? Okay, yeah, if you could, because the St. John's Water Management District's meeting down there. We're supposed to be there at 11. Okay. The gate right by the fire station. The side gate. Unlock it. All right, thanks. Okay. All right, bye.
Far away it's Dennis with Tampa.
That's more. Bye now. Doug was very monotone today.
Huh?
So Doug was very monotone today. This,
Very big fat.
he is.
Him and his cousin are fun.
Yeah.
People organized on time.
Not everyone can see it.
I see him show up or buzzing in.
Yeah, one will call it at 11.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Waiting on one sub-consultant to call in, just in case they need it for questions. We're trying to get that lined up first. Sure. I'm good. Yeah, loaded up earlier. Thank you.
Guess about a good morning. If you're running early.
That's right.
It's great.
Keep them in line. At least we don't have a countdown buzzer.
There you go. Shot clock, make it interesting.
Brooksville has 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The meter's running.
I could operate that.
Broward County's that way too. They'll give you a 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
Then they just say stop.
Good job. A couple of airport authorities that need one of those for everything that goes on their agenda. 5 minutes. You go a couple hours.
We've been pretty lucky lately.
Okay, looks like both of our key team members we invited can jump on in a little bit, so we'll see them come on in a minute. Okay.
Oh, perfect. That's Scott Brady.
Yes, sir.
I was Hank.
We want him in. We want him in. You're operating that mouse. left.
Too much coffee.
That was the problem. Brain. Okay, I think we're all here. We'll introduce ourselves first.
Yeah, why don't we do it that way?
Hi, I'm Mark Bernath. I'm the Public Works Director for Brevard County.
Hi, Christina Kennard, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration.
Justin Hopman, Deputy Director of Operations and Facilities.
Kevin Cook, Treasurer State, Texas.
Dave Byers, Projects Aviation, just a facilitator. I don't have a vote on this selection, but my job is to just keep everybody organized.
Get us out by lunch.
Exactly. Then we have Mark.
Mark Servasio, Venice Municipal Airport.
Great, great. Well, good morning and thank you. Let me introduce my team before I get started. My name is Zach Nelson. I'm the Southeast Regional Planning Manager for McFarland Johnson. I'll be the project manager for this assignment here with the Titusville-Cocoa Airport Authority. From my left, we have Mr. Bob Overby, our Aviation Design Manager. And on my right, John Mafera, who's our Vice President of Aviation here in the Southeast. On the phone, we have Mr. Richard Pruss with Burns and McDonald, as well as Mr. Scott Brady with EG Solutions. So if we get into any nuanced questions relative to architecture, spaceport facility planning, or stormwater management, we can field it with those gentlemen on the phone. But let me just start off by saying how excited we are at McFarland Johnson to be here, have the opportunity to partner with the Airport Authority, and really work with you to champion your visions for each of the 3 airports and the spaceport facility. We know that on the heels of the master plans that will be wrapping up the next year, the strong vision you already have for your facilities is only going to become more clear and more resolved. And what we do best at our firm, and I'll speak to this directly here in a minute, is we use master plans as guidebooks for development. We pursue implementation along strategic imperatives to make sure that you're driving value at each of your facilities all the time. We've been doing that work for years, and I can speak to some examples of that shortly. But if you'll indulge me, I'd love to speak just a little bit more generally about McFarland Johnson, who we are, why we're here, and why we think that's good for you. Is that okay? So at McFarland Johnson, we're 100% employee-owned firm. I say that like it's a big deal because I feel it is a big deal. We're very selective in where we pursue to work, and we're selective because we want to drive value. We want to bring as much value from our service side as we can, but help airports realize as much value they can in the projects they're pursuing. This is evident by the fact that we have one of the strongest retention rates from clients in all of the A&E industry. It's been like that for years. 60% of our core discipline, 6% of our work is aviation. It's the core discipline of ours. And it's been that way across the 76-year history. We have countless examples of on-call engineering and services contracts across the East Coast and nationally. We are a full service firm involving everything from planning, environmental, engineering services, MEP, structural, and more. 6 offices here in the state of Florida. We kind of surround Titusville-Cocoa Airport Authority and all of your airfields. My home office and most of my team is right in downtown Melbourne, which is 35-40 minutes down the road. I'm starting to see a little spring break traffic coming up on US 1 this morning, but seasonal for sure. I know Dave asked us here to speak directly to our project understanding, our team's qualifications, and the ability to perform the work. And of course, we're here to answer any questions that you might have. But just quite quickly, what we understand to be the intention, the project understanding for an on-call engineering consultant here over the next 3 to 5 years is to implement those master plans. You have strong capital improvement plans for each of your facilities in your spaceport. As I mentioned, those are going to be more clear and be a little bit evolved through your master planning process. Hopefully you're garnering lots of interest from state agency and the ADO and building those partnerships for your vision. And we want to work with the authority to realize that so that you can see work getting done. We're in the work of getting work done, right? We want to see projects implemented. And this has been foundational in my work at Greenville-Spartanburg over the last 5 years. They started with a master plan and they've already pushed through all 6 years of their first implementation of that phase. They're looking at resetting now and looking at what their next 5 years should be. We're going to work with them in that process. John and some of our other teams have been real integral with Fort Lauderdale, doing much the same thing, as well as our work with Monroe County, Ocala, and Greenville Downtown Airport up in South Carolina. Our specialty partners on with us, I already mentioned Burns and Mack for architectural and spaceport facility planning. I mentioned EG Solutions for stormwater management support, but we also have a broad team, including the Quotient Group, which has worked with Kevin at other airports West Coast before. Aviation Planning Group, which is another DBE partner we have supporting us in environmental services. And then 2 local specialty firms, technical firms, Southeast Surveying and Mapping, and Universal Engineering Sciences are both on team to support us with this work here. But our ability to perform the work, looking at your CIP, understanding how the direction of that CIP will be much more strong coming on the heels of a master plan, again, with those funding partner support. Our ability to perform the work is integral to who we are as a team. We're a holistic engineering team, so we integrate our planning, our environmental, our engineering services, our MEP, all of that is a collective effort, right? The team you see here today and the team I have behind me who's not with us will be the team with you across this project the next 3 to 5 years. So you'll know who you're working with always through me and our team, but you're not going to have this evolution of staff, right? Part of our culture at MJ, again, back to our 100% employee ownership, is that we want to partner with airports. We want to build a relationship so that we can drive value for you, as I mentioned. But we want to be an extension of staff. We want to be responsible. We want to be available. The fact that we're intending to operate this contract from our Melbourne office means that if you need us at 8 a.m. for a meeting, we're here. That's easy for us. We're not far. And that is how we like to pursue our work. Some of our key differentiators, again, 100% employee owned, full service firm with national experience, but we're based right here in Brevard. Grant management and funding specialists, so we can understand how you as a single entity can structure yourself to be most progressive to support the development across your 4 entities, right? You have your 3 airports and exploration spaceport, all with potentially competing interests. We've done a lot of work with state system planning, so working through the nuance of how do we drive the best ROI, for our investment on these grant matches to pursue our long-term development interests is a big focus of what we intend to bring here. And lastly, we are responsive. We're in your neighborhood. I started my career at Titusville-Cocoa Airport Authority as an intern. I know your 3 airfields. We were this close to supporting you on your master plan last year, and so we're happy to be here again and to continue our effort to support what you're doing here. And with that, I'm happy to push to any questions you might have about our proposal or how we intend to, drive value for you.
So is there anything as an intern here, when you were an intern, is there anything that you saw back, I know it's been a few years, that you would have changed? That you'd like to see change here?
I've seen a lot of growth in a good way. I think the terminal building that we're standing in is a strong example, because when I was an intern, I was in a closet of a trailer.
Yeah, I think it's a trailer right here.
So it's come a long way. Seeing some of the opportunity you have in the land development space, and I know that's happening already. I watched you kind of lease just 2 board meetings ago for some activity that's going to be there on the south side of the airfield. I think that's the big focus. And a lot of what we do as a firm, again, is seeing the program beyond the project, right? We don't do throwaway engineering assignments. We understand there's a long-term vision. That long-term vision is only becoming more clear through your master planning process, which I know the airport's involved in. And through that, we can see the program. So our planners, our environmentalists, our engineers are working holistically, integrated together to drive that value. And so when we look at land planning, when we're talking about optimizing stormwater management to maximize developable parcels that you have accessible to your airfield, all of that is integrated into a broad strategic approach that's focused on your 20-year program, not an individual project. So my excitement, I know that was a roundabout way to answer your question, is probably on your land development. I think that's the big growth area.
There's been a lot of missed opportunities here over the years. I think we're finally seeing this space occupied.
It's exciting.
Some revenue. Yeah, it is. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. Well, from a workflow perspective and to meet all the check marks for the FAA, how would you support us with our project summaries that are due quarterly?
Oh, sure. Well, we did an SF-330 package here for the submittal, so you didn't get to see some of the maybe more robust language we can use to explain the projects we've been involved in the past. But we not only write project summaries for everything we do internally because we want to maintain an account for that, but we constantly work with our airport clients to make sure we're keeping the FAA and their state funding partners engaged in everything that's going on. Quarterly reporting, project summary sheets, all that regular engagement, more than comfortable with. We have great relationships with Mr. Ferris at the AVO and Stephen, your planner there, as well as Amy, who used to be a consultant. We know her from the other side of the fence, as well as Allison there at District 5. So, being able to pick up the phone, hey, what's the best way to clarify your needs in this write-up? We'll make sure we're hitting it out of the park right now.
If I can just add something to that too, we actually have a grants group that handles a lot of grant management. We actually will do all the grant reporting for some of our clients. We actually assist Monroe County with that as well. We also do it for DBE reporting as well. So we've got a group of about 4. They actually sit in our corporate office in Binghamton, but they manage probably about 40 to 45 clients' grants across our system of clients.
From the beginning of a project, can you explain what you would provide as far as cash flows, especially when it's a major project?
As far as cash flows, Don, you want to speak to that? Major project?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to what we've done probably closest from Monroe County. So basically, throughout the initial project budgeting, depending on if we're coming in as the engineer, going to be designing, we'll typically be picking up from probably a master plan cost estimate. We then look at that entire program. So where are we in the next phase? Is there any early permitting that needs to be done? We have design. Are we going out to bid, or are we doing a different type of delivery method? And we're going to basically estimate all those different fees in different stages. So that way, when you look at a program, you understand where your costs are going to be incurred. So you have your soft costs on professional side. You're going to have your permitting costs. You're going to have your hard bid if it's going out to a design bid build versus a CMAR or some other delivery. And then we're going to potentially have, you never know, you might have some change orders throughout your process for unforeseen conditions. We'll try to identify those, especially if you're doing any rehab work. That's usually where we see potential for change orders because you just don't know necessarily what's in that building or what's under that ground. And we'll just basically give you a cost and a cash flow over the duration of that program. Kind of going back to what Zach mentioned about looking more holistically and strategically, we may be only doing the design, but we need to give you a very concrete understanding of what that total program is going to cost. So we'll set that up early on during the scoping phase. And then a lot of times we're kept on to help manage the program, even if we're not doing the construction services or we're not doing, follow-on work. But we'll assist with the grants and with the cash flows and management.
And just kind of really quick on that also, I do, the market we're in now is very fluctuating in terms of cost and delays and such. And we, across the board, internally, we communicate very much so. So if there's a project in Titusville that we may have some items that somebody else in the company's had some issues with, we communicate with that, and we'll also get back to you on that. So if there's items that we think could be a problem, we're gonna let you know that as quickly as we possibly can.
This market too, I'd say, anything that's in design and construction, actually having estimation services or getting contractor input in the design is really critical because literally it'll change in 30 days, depending on the item. And the only way we've been able to be successful, especially at Key West, we had a major terminal project, I think, going on last year in the height of the fluctuations. And we just at one point, it was every 15 days, we were asking for price variances, just so we could understand when we were going to the market, because they were going to bond or do a lot of things. We just really needed to know what the budget was going to be. It is what it is, but we need to know.
Is that project coming on the ground yet?
It is. Yeah, we'll be vertical with columns in about 15, 20 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've already, foundations are going in now. We'll come out of here and see.
Is that like a favorite project? You have like a project that is exciting for you guys right now? We have a lot of cool things coming down.
Yeah, for me personally, I lived in Key West for 7 years in a prior life, and managed, worked for a different firm down there, and, you know, to see the evolution of that airport and to be part of such a generational change there has been exciting. And it's a challenging project, from, you know, supply chain to labor to cost increases like we're talking about. I mean, it's demanding. So it challenges you, which, you know, those are fun. Sure. I may not say that in another year, you know, we'll see if I have any hair left at all, but it's been fun.
Yeah, if I could take the favorite project too, question. If you don't mind. For me, it's probably not a single project, but it's the example would be Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. And, you know, it's more about a strategy being in place, right? Yeah, they did a master plan with us in 2017. And like I mentioned, in the first 5 years, they did 6 years, everything on their first 6 years of implementation, they were just checking out. They were working through it like a checkbook. And going through a strategic planning process and then working with a team that's energized and encouraged to go out there and use it like a punch list has absolutely been a lot of fun. And it's been transformational for them, because when you strategize as a group and then you implement projects individually, sure, they come online one-on-one, their value is expressly one-on-one, but once you start to aggregate that, there's a shift. And that's a really exciting thing. I see that type of trajectory here at your airports, especially with the spaceport opportunities that bring in a whole new market set. It's just a really exciting place to work. I'm sure you all feel that, and we're excited to be part of it. So for me, it would be the collective strategy of implementing multiple projects.
I think, yeah, for me, your proposal, I liked how it was very short and succinct. It probably was pretty good, you know, in comparison to some of the others. What didn't really appeal to me was dumping a lot back in, you know, the SF330s and making me unpack for, you know, how you relate to here. And so obviously my day job is not working at the airport. I was looking for that connection. So how can you help maybe mitigate that and help me make the connection that you understand TCA's roles and responsibilities?
Sure, I think we probably can all add to this. I would agree with you with the SF330s. They're not the most convenient way to express some of what you're looking for and what we would value to communicate. To that end, though, I mentioned I started my career right here. You know, I got the aviation bug here 20 years ago when I was in college. I had the opportunity then to drive around all your airfields, you know, look at all your stormwater swales, look at all your facilities and equipment on a daily basis, doing operational inspections. And then, you know, I went on into my career always in Florida as an aviation consultant, working with airports all across the state and Southeast, build those long-term development programs, work to get things implemented in the ground. But what it means to me to work here at Titusville is this is a bit of a coming home for me. You know, I'm in this community in Brevard County, have been for over 20 years, have my office in the 1900 building downtown, like I mentioned. And, you know, our ability to understand what's going on at Titusville is evidenced by the fact that we've been at board meetings for the last 2 years, listening to how things have been evolving under Kevin's leadership, and understanding some of those strategic focuses that the airport's taking as an organization, both at this airport, but also Arthur Dunn and Merritt Island with respect to the spaceport. So, you know, keeping our ear to the ground and understanding the intentions and the direction the board's taking, being able to, as a master planner myself, look at what's going to be the product of your master plans for these 4 facilities, and distilling that down into an actual program. I mean, I'm very comfortable with the direction that we can take with that, because again, that's kind of integral to what we do. My local connection to this facility is hard to communicate. You know, as a student pilot and an ops person here, you get to understand the airports very well. And the opportunity to come back and bring the services that I've been honing over the last 20 years to bear for the authority is exciting. But Bob,
well, I would say, like, in terms of your facility, I haven't had the privilege like Zach's had to work here for many years. But in terms of how myself and how my experience in airports would benefit you all is the best example is Ocala. Just down the road, we recently selected as their on-call. I worked with Ocala for 20 plus years as their consultant. We were just selected recently. And the way we work is the day-to-day. Big projects, little projects, helping them move forward. Zach's mentioned holistically. Simple projects, not simple, but projects we're working on for them is a 7-acre land release if they have a developer that has a hangar. We're helping them through that process with a categorical exclusion, small mini CADX. I talked to Matt this morning. They have parcels on the west side of the airfield. They want to now advertise again for more development. So Zach and I are going to help them with exhibits and renderings of how they can market that. Zach's currently working on a noise contour update. All these projects, they're not big and sexy, but what they do is help that, Cal move along, and what we will help you do is you move along. So whatever it may be, us partnering and working with you, that isn't only what we do, but it's what makes this fun. I mean, we all want to have a job where we enjoy what we do day to day. And that's, I think, what we bring that you're going to see with Zach, myself, and John, and the whole team for that matter, what we bring to you. And those are the things that can't be documented in the SF-330. So.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd add to that is that, our approach is to be your strategic partner. I mean, we want to assist you the entire program as you see fit to have us as your kind of extension of staff. So we can advise, we can be a sounding board. We work with authorities and municipal sponsors for county and city government regularly. So, we know from public works or from planning or from engineering, we're engaging those folks early, for permitting discussions, scoping discussions. So that way, they're engaged in the design, they understand what's going on and what's coming. So when a permit application hits, nobody's surprised, whether that's the airport or whether that's the municipality or the AHJ, authority having jurisdiction. So I think that holistic, engaged partnership is really what we can bring to the table here. That's going to support you in developing that master plan once you complete it.
I'm good.
Hey, Mark. Any questions?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
How's that airspace classification change?
It's coming along. We built a pretty integrated 3D web map that you can kind of model and explore. And right now we're working with the various constituencies to think about how they might be impacted by a change to Class C. And we're looking at the same time how the geometry of that Class C might be altered to better support some of the commercial traffic they have, especially TUI coming in from Manchester. So it's an interesting project. That's a fun one for me because it's so new. It's not every day that a planner like myself gets to work in a change of airspace. That's something normally the FAA involves themselves in. So, our goal there is to position Melbourne to have the best conversation with the ADO they can, and then we're going to go support them in that process so that they feel heard. That's the best we can do. From there, we hope the ADO takes it up and champions it, but that'll be a long process.
Any else? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's probably a little bit on the.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you soon. See you soon. Next week, I hope.
Appreciate it.
Sir, you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Mark, take care, sir.
Sir, thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care, Mark.
Take care.
We could do it on the way out.
I can only imagine the logistics of building a terminal down in Key West with, construction workers trying to find living arrangements.
I'll deliver it again. I gotta grab myself. I've never made it to the car without them. See y'all. Thank you again.
St. Thomas, they built the terminal twice. They had it pretty much almost complete and the hurricane was wiped it out, and they just had to start over again. And it's just the same.
Easier to build second time.
Materials, yeah. You already made your mistakes on the first one. Okay. Well, what do you think? It's gonna be hard or easy?
Pretty easy. I don't guess they changed my mind really. Yeah. I'm gonna slightly tweak AvCon I thought they were a close second. I'm gonna make them first just based on you guys like them, and I want you guys to have what you want. But I thought ICE was, number one coming into it.
For me, ICE and Alcon were.
Yeah.
That's what I was wanting to as well.
Yeah. Mark, what do you think?
I actually bumped up understanding for AvCon from 17 to 19 and for ICE from 12 to 16.
Okay. We'll tell you what. Let's see if we can put this on screen. We can do the final rankings right now based on the scoring. This screen. Share screen. Justin, I think you're going to have to give me permission.
I have an error on mine too.
All right, should be able to now.
That'll work. Okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you give me about 5 minutes or so, let me tabulate these. And then come back and take it from out just now.
Zach is a good speaker. He's
Yeah.
he's definitely a good facilitator of this.
So Mark, let's see.
I can just give you kind of background, my rationale on them. AvCom was the first one I did, was very impressed with their proposal. Probably would have had some of those, my scorings higher for them, other than the fact that they were the first one that I did. And I always, whenever I'm on one of these, I always leave myself room in case somebody comes along afterwards to wow. Like I said, I upped the understanding score for ICE. I know it said it in there that they have been coming 2 years, but to actually hear it come in all those authority meetings and stuff, I think they really did their homework. And I had to comment on the McFarland Johnson one of the experience and key personnel, that they had very little specifics. Yes, they had everything in the forms, but everything's in the forms. I think that it was kind of a lazy way out to just stick that collage in that of pictures of airports in that section. To me, that's the section for them to say, yeah, we did the same kind of projects at this airport, that airport, specific projects as to what you guys got coming up. So I just thought that was a little bit of a lazy way out on their experience. And yes, Zach was incredibly well-spoken. And I think he looks younger than he is, but he's been around, so. And I know, John, like I said, these are all different guys from when I was there 30 years ago, but I've been in contact with them. I've seen them at the conferences and stuff, and they're a good bunch of guys, and they do seem to know their stuff. But AvCon and ICE were just that far beyond the other two, and AID, I already said my piece about them, so.
Okay, so I've got your original scores, so let's just start from AID. Any pluses or minuses from your original?
Just to add in the references that I gave him a 5. To be honest with you, that's my own reference. I mean, I would drop that down even. And as far as bonus points, I didn't give them any, so you can leave that score the way it is, because they came out where I would have put them.
Just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
AFCON pluses or minuses.
AvCon, I plussed understanding from 17 to 19.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
ICE, I plus understanding from 12 to 16 and add in 10 for the references where I missed that while I was filling out the sheet.
Yeah, I got that one. And then anything for McFarland Johnson?
McFarland Johnson, actually, just add in the 10 for the reference where I missed them.
Okay, we got that too. All right, so I think what we got here. Make it easy. See what's supposed to. Okay, let's see. This was new here, so let's see, -4, and drops that to 10. Justin, you're up next. Let me see if I can get this on the screen.
I left points on one of them, that they should only been maxed out 15.
Okay, fix that. Okay, Justin, you're up. Any pluses or minuses?
No, I think it's
As is. Okay. Let's see. This is maybe. Three. This is
Minus.
so it's a minus. So -3. So that drops that down to.
Because there's only 15.
Sorry, 14. And then you gave them 3 points here for that one. You look right?
16 at the top.
16, oh, it should be 16. Sorry. Better?
Better.
Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna plug all yours in.
Is Lisa started yet, you guys?
Yeah, just started last week.
You work with Mark Vanguard?
I don't work with Mark, no.
Oh, okay.
I just knew Lisa twice through the city. She was economic development. Keep us on the roll for you guys or? what's the- It's good.
And then Mark from our
Yeah, we have schools, yeah. Yeah, we work with this now. He hasn't been with us too long. Usually not when we're happy. You know, it's usually lawsuits and, you know, injuries and
Yeah.
all those fun things.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's a city hall, so they don't operate as civil. So.
Really. Where City Hall, do you mean in?
Downtown,
Downtown?
yeah, he works out of there. Actually, we're right outside of our, we're right down the hill.
Okay.
You actually in the whole church.
No, we just use it for storage.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, we thought that too. We just use it for storage. We didn't, you know, we didn't power it or anything. We just they're using it for replacing with our storage units. But it sits right in the middle of our compound, so it made perfect sense for us to use it. So. Hey, you guys want to take down, we can take down, put storage buildings there. That doesn't bother us.
Yeah.
Because we gotta use it for overflow parking and then like hurricanes, we use it for our sand distribution. The back of it.
Yeah.
Because it's outside our fences, we're not allowed to look inside.
Right.
Kevin.
But it's,
And I used to work.
yeah, we got tracks that I'll put down a bunch of our electronics.
Yeah, during my 2 hour round. trip
When it came to
the
me, it
last
was
5 years, I was
they're literally sitting right in there.
Yeah.
And it was a 5 minute commute or less. So,
But you have everything there. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
yeah, it's continuing to grow.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yesterday,
can't sell that
the
one,
more
huh?
access to the stuff.
No,
And whenever you go to the School board, it was a disaster when they had the screen training.
But,
Oh, yeah. Trying to get back on.
yeah, I mean, every week it seems like there's other.
Yeah, we might come back and talk to you about that. 'Cause we could probably use it a
Yeah,
little better space than that.
Traffic's not that bad. I mean,
You know, put something there.
Oh, yeah, that's. Yeah. Screen training.
Okay,
there.
watch you go down. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
You guys got some houses over there, you'd like me to.
And that would have been nice.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We
good.
went to.
Yeah, every year our story up there. Was like, Airport owns all these houses over here.
Yeah.
So I can actually see it off in my backyard.
Yeah, they carry it.
I'm actually directly behind the PA.
Okay, I think Kevin is close to that area too. Yeah.
Yeah, one time maybe I mentioned they wanted to talk to us about getting part of the top of our facility.
Yeah, I like to say our joke.
Turned over to you guys.
Takes longer to get out of my development.
We used to, it got cleared years ago. You said some pine trees got cleared out, but it's just lime storage for the water plant now. But they had mentioned one of them to get it for expanding some of the, I guess, glide path. So there, it's not a buildable area for us because it really has just been a couple area on the line.
Okay.
Other plants been in construction. Whatever.
Kudos to her. Could've had to bring it.
Yeah, I think that's why there's the grass strip there.
Yeah.
Even if
Which,
I was sick or something, like,
I mean, people use the grass strip. But it's not that. See ultralights.
Yeah, all the stuff you get a little worried about flying over. Yeah, the hand built stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
See what up here.
Actually, my husband. He retired. and we were South of
For the new buildings, you guys have people lined up for those industrial areas.
Actually lived
So there's a developer.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, pretty confident I get some.
Yeah.
That's good.
more opportunities for him.
Big room.
Yeah.
Get up here, though.
Yeah.
It's hard to leave office. Too much paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's my first time actually at this airport.
Oh, yeah. They used to do the air show every year. Now it's
Every other year.
every other year. What is the one, and then
For the beach, yeah, it's.
I didn't know if it was in March.
Almost had it all together, but. Close. Looks to me, it's that kind of nice in that order by 3 points. I'll have to check these, but I don't think there's any disagreement that the scoring. It's gonna be any different. Mark, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, pay no attention to this right here, but just based on their, the combined scores of all the committee members, looks like AvCon will be ranked number 1, ICE ranked number 2, McFarland Johnson 3, and EID number 4.
Exactly what I had. It's good.
That's the way I would have done them. I did do them.
Yeah. Any conversation, disagreements? Heard it all, saw it all, read it all.
Yeah.
I think 2 good firms that you can work with. You'll get the job done. Well, great.
And like I think, and I think my scores look lower than the rest, based on what I was saying before. I always leave myself room in case I start reading a way better proposal after that.
You're a tough grader. I was always a softie. That's why I always give that bonus points in there. Yeah. Give him a shot. Yeah, it might be something in there that they might have thrown in there that you didn't expect. No extra credit though. Well, good. That's what we hope to accomplish without a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth. Obviously, there'll be some disappointed people. That's how it goes. Yep, I've been there myself, right here in this very room. That was a bad beat for us. But it was a way more political kind of undercurrent, kind of sense that it didn't help that 2 of the board members didn't show up. That could have swung it the other way as it was a 3-2 vote. So, well, thank you. Kevin,
Yes, we
the airport
appreciate it.
authority says thank you.
Everyone's assistance.
I don't know, guessing we're gonna buy lunch or? I'm glad we.
You want any of this stuff back?
Just send me your final scoring sheet.
I hand you 5 pounds of books.
Yeah, you can leave those here. We'll,
You keep them as souvenirs.
Light reading material.
You want Dave, is it okay if I scan that and send you a PDF, or do you need the hard copy?
No, that's fine. Just so I have a record in case anybody asks. They'll probably want to know everything there is to know about that, but nothing's happened until the airport authority signs off on it. So we'll brief them, was that next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, we'll just brief them and then ask for a motion to accept the committee's rankings. And then off we go.
Sounds good.
Hopefully we can do the same for you someday.
Kevin already did it for me.
Did he?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
was a pleasure meeting
Nice
all of
to
you.
meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Good to see you, Mark. Yeah. See you next month with the impact fees, I guess.
Yeah.
It's gonna be for.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you. See you again.
Nice to meet you.
Sometime soon.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, thank you. Take care.
You're
And
welcome.
sorry again about being late.
No
worries. Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
If you don't have any objections, I'd like to see something on tearing that building down.
Yeah.
Storage in.
Yeah.
Take care.